Okay. So I haven't done this before, but we're gonna see how this goes with an Overexplain seed. Give it a few minutes here while I look over the settings and whatnot. First things first, if you're running on emulator, which I currently am, at the start of the seed, you need to show your setting. So on RetroArch, I press F1, go to core options, scroll up, and at the bottom here, I just need to show that this VI refresh rate overclock is set to auto, and frame rate is set to original. Without that, Oak may come hunt you in the middle of the night and require you to show your settings. But with that out of the way, I'm going to take a look at the settings because honestly, I am not super familiar. So, do wrong thing. Getting there, I swear. Okay. Main rules, 6 medallion bridge. No extra sanities, random spawns, start with Prelude, Ocarina, and consumables, fast boat, Rudo at floor 1, closed Deku, closed fountain. 40 and 50 skulls off, OT song is off, and Mask of Truth is off. Perfect. That gives me at least a rough idea of what we're looking at here. Hopefully I can act like I know what I'm talking about. For any interested, I am a quote-unquote up-and-coming runner. I was in top 32 this last season of Standard, made it to the top 16 bracket, and was promptly knocked out by Mr. Mario in the first round, so that was fantastic and great fun. That was my first time in top 32. I was in Challenge Cup before then in the previous season. So I somewhat know what I'm talking about, but if you're asking me if I'm one of the top tier runners, I'm going to tell you no way. Go talk to Mr. Mario, Cola, Zavi, etc. There are many Ecola, sorry. There are way too many to list. At any rate, let us see what we are looking at here. It is in toilet, no skits! This is not TFB. I play a lot of TFB, and you look for pieces of the Triforce hidden in dungeons. Skits may have a fascination that it's in toilet. I may have encouraged it by denying that it is ever in toilet, even when it is. But hello, Skits. Hopefully you're doing well. Okay. So this is a random seed that I had rolled. Let me... Do I still have it up? I don't, but I can pull it up. I will put it in the chat if anyone wants to run the seed on their own. And when I upload a video, I will go ahead and also post it in the description there. So if you are watching on YouTube, I will check the description if you want the seed link. This should be it. Looks right. Timing is right. We'll grab that. Excited to hear your thoughts on routing and such? Oh my goodness, Evan, you give me too much credit. Also, hello, hopefully you're doing well. Comfy? Oh, that emote is amazing. Good luck, Dankeschön. But, at any rate, if you're in a race room, I highly recommend, and I'll go ahead and set my timer to -5 seconds so I have a count in timer. Double checking your hash at the top, in our case, milk, deku nut, lens, long shot, bow. Make sure that it matches your race room. In this case, it does match the seed that I linked, so huzzah! You'll be judging every step. Oh my goodness, Ramon. Speaking of people way better than me, there's this person, Ramon, goes by Paramondox. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that semi-correctly. On Twitch. Watch him if you want someone better than me. Just say. and I'll go ahead and mark that we start with a fire medallion. We start with Nehru's as our major item, which is effectively... Are we starting with Nehru's as our major item? I think we are. And we have Nocturne. Feels like we have two things. Did you just say me? Don't know the me. But yes, 7 is also amazing. Follow 7. Get all of 7's tips. I'm exaggerating? I don't think so. Is this TFB night mode? Oh my goodness. It looks like it. It's a very good mode where you start with Nocturne and Prelude, so it looks like it. I know we start with Prelude. I think... Oh, right, that's what it is. So Prelude is on the Ocarina of Time song. I'm remembering these settings, I swear. And Nocturne is our starting song from Impa. Oh, you're gonna say that Horseradish, that you're better than you? Facts! 7 is better than me! This I believe, but... So, looking at this, our starting item is Nehru. That does nothing logically in these settings. No, that's not what you said, maybe. Part 7. I am easily distracted, by the way, so my apologies for that, and hopefully it slightly amuses you. So, Nehru's as a major item. We don't have a major item. This is a standard opening. It's like we didn't start with a major item. There's just one less big chest in the world to bait us. So, huzzah! Having Nocturne as a start, honestly, going into the seed, that's wonderful. It means I can play it and go straight to Graveyard. So I am all for that. The one other thing that I'm looking at, especially at the start of the seed, we mentioned the Fire Medallion. If it's a Forest Medallion, you want to make your way to Temple of Time fairly quickly and get your song from there. Otherwise, I think mostly you can ignore it. And our start, whether it's child or adult. In these settings, we have random spawns, and whether or not the Master Sword is highlighted on the game screen on the right side, second column from the right, about straight in the middle, fourth from top or bottom. It is not highlighted, so that means that we are starting as a child. Starting as a child, having Nocturne isn't as important to me, but it's good to know sometime when it goes to night initially, it's Dampe digging time, and I can just play Nocturne. It's not something I'm planning in immediately, but it's just in the back of my mind. Otherwise, with random spawns, the main thing that I'm looking for with a child start is, am I close to a bunch of checks? And same with adult start. But for child start, it's, am I close to Lon Lon Ranch? Am I close to Market? Am I close to Kokiri Forest? And am I close to Gerudo Valley? Those are the 4 main ones that I'm looking for. If I spawn close to one of those 4 areas, or next to any checks that I know of, I want to grab those checks quickly, and then I'm planning to play a song. As a child, it's a little awkward, because you want to make your way to Kokiri Forest. That's your best child density early. So you could play Nocturne and walk there. That's more than reasonable. It's not a play I'm particularly fond of, but if I spawn near there, I'll definitely walk. I would probably play Prelude and go to Lon Lon Ranch first, but both are more than reasonable. Honestly, one of the big things with Zelda Randomizer in my experience is indecision is your biggest enemy. As long as you're going somewhere, you're making a fantastic play. But if you're humming and hawing about where to go, that's where you lose a lot of time. Now, that being said, first few seeds, I highly recommend that you stop for a minute after getting something and sort of go into retrospective saying, okay, where can I use that? Where's the next place to go? It's just, as you get more and more comfortable, just trust your instinct, start going somewhere. If you have to go back around to somewhere else, then fantastic. But at least you're going somewhere in the meantime. And oh my goodness! Thank you for the raid, Blue. Hopefully your stream was amazing. Dankeschön. We are just getting started here. Showering me with roses and hugs from Blue in chat. Heart. Good luck with the explaining, Dankeschön. I appreciate it. Well, For any raiders coming in, we are doing an Overexplain seed. We just went over the settings, just went over our initial thoughts, and we're going to get going here. Dankeschön, Gerudo Kitty. Hopefully you're doing well. And let's let the countdown timer go in. If this is a race seed, you will have a password, and as soon as the countdown timer starts, you will have to input the password on the next page. We did not roll with a password, so we won't have that, and that's why we have a 5-second timer instead of a 30-second timer, or whatnot it currently is. And hello! But let's get started. So we have a child start. We're hoping for early checks. I will pause where I'm moving right at the start, just to explain what I'm thinking of, and I'm going to do that throughout the video. So hopefully my time isn't too dreadful with all of the explanation. But that is the point of the video, so without further ado, good luck, have fun! Okay, so we're in Zora's domain. It's a bit of an awkward start. The big thing with it is we can go down river. That's our best check density. You also have a couple checks in here you can do, but they aren't great timing-wise, and one of them requires a bunch of money. So personally, I'm just going to ignore those 2 checks real quick, and I'm going to go down river. Immediate banger, indeed. We see our first check is a blue rupee. I'm not too worried about that. And we check our first hint. Gerudo Fortress has 0 major items, so doesn't change our route, just says we don't need to go to Fortress. I like marking things as I'm moving, and it's over. If you're going down river as a child, I like going down the left in general because you get all of these rupees. If you go down the right, you get a few more rupees, but it takes a little bit longer. If you go down the right and you have a non-warp song, you can also play it either for a check in the case of Song of Storms, or for whatchamacallit. The 50 rupee reward. Oh, and we have our first item. Not a major item, but we have bomb shoes up here. Bomb shoes are probably my favorite item in the game. They let you change your route and break logic, all for fun. That's what I think anyway. So, going ahead and grabbing this, we get our bomb shoes. Initially, this doesn't change my route, so I'm going to keep playing. So, with the bomb shoes now, I'm thinking, okay, now I have illogical explosives. I can check explosives on the way to things, and depending on how many and how scared I am of where my bomb bag is, I can start save scumming them. Initially, I want to just get this other Zora's reverse check and some hints from up here. So those don't require bomb shoes, it doesn't change. However, now, as I go through Lost Woods and such, I can use those bomb shoes and be very happy. Also, side note, in a moment, it is just now becoming night, and it got there naturally. So I'm thinking, okay, first hint, Silver Block and Spirit Temple. So this is Small Key and Po Bottle. If you just left click on these trackers, credit to DT Kim, this is the tracker in the resources page. I love it. It's fantastic. DT Kim always makes amazing trackers. But Spirit looks like there isn't a default for Adult Spirit, or maybe it's under Adult Spirit, not Spirit Adult. Good job, me. So we know we have a key that's Strength 2 locked. We may require Strength 2 to do anything in Spirit. But as I was mentioning, sorry, easily distracted, it's just now becoming night, and we started with Nocturne. So I am thinking, oh, I can play Nocturne and go get Dampe Gravedigging out of the way, because sometimes it's a pain to get that. Bomb Shoes and a purple rupee on the Colossus hands. So marking an X for the purple rupee. Playing Nocturne, it's always a good idea to grab this hint over here. Water Temple is foolish. Fantastic. Also a very common hint, because Water Temple only has four potentially major items. Excuse me. But fortunately, we have 17 rupees here for Dampe. If we didn't, you can open up these two graves next to the shield grave, which has a check, and both of these will have 5 rupees in them. So you always have enough money for Dampe grave digging. You can always grab those two. Dampe gave us a recovery heart. Mean old Dampe. Because we happen to be here, this is a Sphere 0 check. We can open it and see what we're finding. Robbing graves, let's go, yes! One side note, because I had bomb chews early, I have not been opening these brown chests. Brown chests can have your bomb chews, and generally until you get a pack, I highly recommend opening them. Depending on who you talk to, you shouldn't open them at all, or you should open more of them even after. So it really depends on your comfort level. Actual Tomb Raider? Oh my goodness. I wish that I were as good as Lara Croft. You can peek this by rolling into it, just a huge rupee up there, so not much. So now, routing-wise, I am going into Lon Lon Ranch. Not Lon Lon Ranch. Oive, Kakariko, because I want to see my 20 and 30 skulls reward, and because I'm still trying to get to Kokiri Forest. So in my mind, I am going to go up, because I have the bomb chews, through Goron City into Kokiri Forest. That's the route in my head. And when I got the bomb chews and then I played Nocturne, that sort of became my thought process. In the meantime, we check 20 and 30 skulls. We see that both of them have nothing. At this point, I open up my menu, see how many chews I have, in our case a 10 pack, nice and standard, equip them. And I like viewing, the first time that I open my menu, I like viewing my dungeon layout. I will take an alt print screen and then paste it into a Google Doc, and that's how I do it. So in an actual run, I will open up my menu, take a screenshot, and go back. And that's my whole thing. Then on another screen, when I have time, I am pasting that in. But since we're doing an overexplain, we will take a look at it here. We see that our dungeons we don't need are to do Jabu, Fire, and Shadow. So those dungeons we don't necessarily need to complete. There's no reward in these settings for getting Ocarina of Time Song, which is their reward, so we can mostly ignore those, hopefully. We have Dodongos as our Forest Med. Always good to prioritize your Forest Med. You can get a Warp Song, you can get progression, whatnot. And then the rest of our dungeons, Water Temple for our Burning Cack, just good to know. And everything else just marked on the tracker. So I don't put a lot of weight early on in looking at this, but you can go through and say, okay, I know Water Temple is now part of my completion, therefore Iron Boots and Longshot are going to be on my path. Spirit Temple, so Strength 2, potentially, unless it's Wanderer in Triforce Blitz terms, by which I mean you don't have path strengths because 3 are available. And whatchamacallit, your Mirror Shield. Deku Tree, you need your Kokiri Sword. All these good things. Also, I should have marked Child Spawn is in Zora's domain. But with that, with a choose start, when I do this menu, I will do a save. Otherwise, I tend not to worry about the save, but honestly, it never hurts to save too much. That way, in case you have a crash, you have a nearby point to go back to. So every time you open your menu, when you close it, getting into the habit of saving is generally a good thing. Now, because I just saved and we're near a bomb check, I will go ahead and check that. We'll see if we get anything here out of logic. And a health chest. I tend not to get health chests. I do recommend, especially for new to intermediate runners, to grab heart chests when you see them early. You want to get up to, I would say, a minimum of 5 hearts, and then beyond that, it's your comfort level. I've been playing too much Triforce Blitz, where I feel like you need less hearts, and therefore I just go for less hearts. You could do a few more checks in Kakariko. You could do the Man on Roof, and you could do the Open Grotto. I don't like doing them as a child because I know I'm going to be there as an adult soon, but it's more than reasonable to. You also have Dodongo's Cavern here. We saw that there was nothing on top of Dodongo's Cavern, just a piece of heart. You could go into Dodongo's Cavern as a child. Again, I feel like I'm probably going to be there as an adult, so I'm not going to worry about it. In this case, you could go in there to try to complete it, but it's very difficult to complete just with Choose as a child. Roll into this to peek this chest, and Jumper, so this is without Bomb Chew Bag, and that's why the pack is not considered for logic, right? Correct. You can play with Bomb Chew Bags, and therefore Bomb Chews are in logic, and you can get Bomb Chews from grass. We are not playing with those settings because those are not standard. But thank you! So, we didn't see anything in Death Mountain Trail. We continue on to Goron City. From here, you could check Goron City. I am going to get hit by Hot Rodder. I would rather just go into Kokiri Forest. I don't want to spend a lot of chews without saving them, potentially. So I spent one in Kakariko because it was going to be difficult to get back there, although you could make the argument that I was going to be there as an adult soon, and I shouldn't have. Yeah, you're just not familiar with the race settings, hee fair Jumper. Feel free to ask anything. But I know that I'm going to want the song from here. Questions are what the stream is for? Facts. Lou is 100% correct. So, running into SFM, I know I want this song. So my plan is with the Choose, after I get the song, I'm gonna walk back through, get hit by a bunch of things, maybe die to them, and I'm going to save, and then I'm going to check all the checks with my Bomb Chews and see what happens. Fancy little trick there, being able to backflip and reflect the Deku Nut. Yeah, to note, not having Bomb Chew Bag means you don't get drops, so you have to be careful where you use them. Your number of them is limited. Yes, good point, Neil. Donkashun. We got Song of Time from here. So Song of Time really doesn't change our route, especially as a child. Biggest thing Song of Time means for me early is when you do the Dampe race as an adult, you can go straight from there into the windmill. That's the biggest thing early, but it's also good to have when you go to GTG. It does make GTG a better play in my... Dying to Meadow Scrubs is fun. It is fun, Jumper. So we got Song of Time. We can check our hint here. Deku Tree is Path to the Hero. Interesting. Okay. So Deku Tree is Path to Hero. Path to Hero means that you need it to defeat Ganon, and it's not specifically your light arrows. I'm actually going to pause for a second because there's a lot to go into. You don't need to go into all of this detail, but I feel that it's good to, just so that, good for me too, when I over-explain it, because it has a lot of information. So a path to the hero in these settings, due to path priority. Path priority says different path goals have different priorities, and a lower path priority can't have a path item that it's pointing to that is needed to complete a higher priority. In this case, we have two path priorities. The first one is to open the bridge, and that's to get all 6 medallions. That is our higher priority, and you expect to only have hints to that priority in these settings. Your second priority is to defeat Ganon after you have opened the bridge. That is your path to the hero. In this case, we have Path to Hero, and I could be messing this up. It might be Path to Hero is to actually be able to collect your light arrows. I lump those in together, and that is just strictly a mistake on my part. But I want to make that clear in case I am mistaken. Please feel free to ask in the main Discord. You might teach me as well, to be honest. Um, so, with a path to the hero in Deku Tree, I know that there's an item in Deku Tree that is either needed to defeat Ganon, so magic or a bow, or to get light arrows, wherever the light arrows are. And it is not required to complete the Forest, Temple, DC, Water, Spirit, or Deku, because those are our medallions. If it were required to defeat any of those logically, it would not be a path to the hero, it would instead be a path to one of those dungeons. So, Deku Tree has something later that will be very important. But that's the overexplain for Path of the Hero. We have Lost Woods as Path to Queen Goma. So that's our higher priority path. Hopefully it's our Kokiri sword. And we have Frogs 2 is a blue rupee. So Frogs 2 is dead. So, continuing, I'm pausing here to save because we have limited number of chews. Yes, sorry Isno, I ignored your message on Discord. I am streaming. We just got started with an overexplain. I apologize. And also, hello, hopefully you are doing well. Just for you, Isno. A death. Don't feel bad about dying. I'm a top 32 runner and you just saw me die. Don't feel bad about dying. At any rate, it's because I forgot to explain this. When you enter this dungeon, if you Z-target, pull out a stick, side hop to the left, and do a jump slash, you get broken stick. Saves you 1 stick. Just a nice little thing. Nice broken stick off that wall. Indeed, jumper. Nice death, too. We're not talking about that. Hurt. Again, health, I highly recommend picking it up in general. I'm going to make myself a difficult seed by not doing so. I'm going to grab the 5 rupees over here. Always 5 rupees that appear over there. Currently, we don't have the 40 we need for a couple checks here in Lost Woods, but it gets us 5 rupees closer. Path of Hero is things for bow or magic or light arrows, but not light arrows themselves. Just confirming that. Thank you, Neil. I appreciate it. So it can be for any of the 3. Okay, so we have Path to Lost Woods, and we have a big chest here. We open this because it's just a check, and it's also a hint. Outside Ganon's castle is 0 major items. Doesn't really tell us anything. Now, when we get Strength 3, if we get Strength 3, we don't need to go there. Now, we do get iron boots here, which is interesting. I should actually mark that Lost Woods was path to Queen Goma. I tend to say things like my paths out loud, then mark them as I'm running around, so I'm kind of bad at keeping up to date, and I apologize for that. I will try to pause and be better during this overexplain. But we have iron boots here. So iron boots could lead to our Kokiri sword, or there could be something else here in Lost Woods, such as our Kokiri sword. But now we're just keeping those iron boots in the back of our mind, excuse me. Because we picked up those iron boots, I have now quote-unquote lost 4 chews in my mind, because I'm not going to save scum those 4 chews back. I don't think it's worth the time. And technically it's only 2 chews, because we were down to 8 when we last saved. Your mind is on a path to, I don't know what you're talking about, Jumper. But we continue in Lost Woods. We have our lovely Sphere Zero Ocarina memory game. Some runners will just skip this because it's a slow check. It's more than reasonable to. It's just be aware that you will just lose some games because you choose to. We do it, we get a blue rupee, we're sad that we didn't skip it. But it is what it is. Actually, since it's an overexplain, you can also get 1 rupee from this patch and a 5 rupee from over here. So if you're ever really struggling for money, it's a good place to grab 6 rupees. That's all of the checks in Lost Woods we can do with our current money amount. So I'm going into Kokiri Forest, read another hint. Target in the woods grants a piece of heart, so we know we don't need target in the woods. Nice. Jump down here. Whole lot of nothing in here. I will open these chests because I'm hoping for 5 rupees. We got a Hylian shield. Fantastic. Another good thing you can get early from a small chest. Just means that you save yourself 80 rupees from buying a shield. Team never buy a shield for the win. And we got 20 rupees for our trouble too. Fantastic. Coming out of here, you can go over to the Kokiri sword chest. Again, it is reasonable to skip this. If you have Sun Song when you get over here, as soon as you get the check, you can play Sun Song to quote-unquote warp back, because any location you play Sun Song in where time does not pass, it will relocate you to where you entered there, not counting grottos. If you go into and out of a grotto, it does not count for your location for Sun Song. But we find out there's nothing here. We'll grab some more money while we're here. And we'll go back out. So now that I have 70 rupees, I can go back into Lost Woods and look at getting the last few checks there. Also, when you leave this, if you backflip, side hop, backflip, backflip, and just backflip a whole bunch there, it gets you out, and you get, I think it's 7 more rupees. Yes, 7. So just another way to make a little bit of money as you're leaving. Did we grab this? We didn't. 5 rupees there. It won't respawn, but it's 5 more rupees. Now we have 80 rupees for the 2 40 rupee checks in Lost Woods. So now we go off to the left here. And I'm being a little extra thorough going through this seed. You can, by all means, feel free to say, this check takes too long, and say, I'm not going to check. That is more than reasonable. I like this check because it's also a hint. We get Skull Mask has nothing. One less thing to worry about. We get 20 rupees back from the scrub, which is very convenient. Mark, that is dead. We never marked OGC. Has 0 major items. Now, normally at this point, if we didn't have a Lost Woods path, I would be leaving. I would be interested in making it daytime. I would be interested in making it to Lon Lon Ranch and Market. So my route will be what it is in a moment of play Prelude, go into Market, get a couple Sphere Zero checks out of the way, go into Hyrule Castle to pass Time of Day, and grab a couple of hints there while I'm waiting for Time of Day to pass. However, because we have a Lost Woods path, I'm going to spend a chew here and see if we have anything in this check. More than reasonable to wait until you're an adult. The reason I want to do it as a child is because I was hoping the Kokiri sword would be there. And if it was, we could go straight to Deku Tree. We couldn't, is what it is. Now, I'm going to play Prelude and do the route I said. Also along the lines of, I think that just doing things is good. I shouldn't have left that grotto. I should have just immediately played Prelude after getting the check. However, I just have it ingrained in my mind that I need to be doing something, so I just start leaving the grotto. In that case, it loses me a bit of time, but I think on average, it gives me more time. So, path hits. Kakariko Village is path to Phantom Ganon. Let's mark these on the tracker. Again, I have a bad habit of trying to do this without, but there's nothing wrong with taking the time. Burning Cack is Song of Storms. That's a lot of checks inside of Bottom of the Well, so that's going to be hanging in the back of my mind for a bit. Target in the Woods grants a piece of heart. We already saw that. And GTG is path to King Dodongo. An early path to King Dodongo is excellent, because path to King Dodongo is almost always your bomb bag. Sometimes it's something that leads to your bomb bag, but it's fairly rare that that's the case. So this tells me I need to get to GTG as soon as possible, unless I'm comfortable with the number of chews I have. And probably even then, still get over there soon. But entering Market, you always start with Prelude, so it's always good if it's nighttime to grab Richard. Bring him over here. If you walk too far away from Richard, he will stop following you. I'm being a little overly cautious in how close he remains to me, but Just worth noting. And we get Dins. Dins does nothing initially for us, and Shadow Temple is a stone. So it's probably not going to be path. It could be path for Spirit Temple. Spirit loves having magic and fire source paths for key logic. So I'm just putting that in the back of my mind. I don't have magic right now. I don't have a reason to think I need to do Shadow Temple. It's not pressing, but it's like, oh, neat. I'll just bear that in mind if I get magic or a Shadow Temple path. I skipped a bunch of skulls in Kakariko as a child. I probably shouldn't have. We'll just grab this one. Generally, it's a good idea to grab up to 10 skulls. More if you find out your 20 and 30 skulls actually have something. Again, it's another check you can just say doesn't have anything, and you will lose some games because of that, but that's perfectly fine. Zora's Fountain is path to Morpha. Fantastic. So that's our last path hint. So, going into a little bit of over-explaining on path hint specifics. You definitely don't need this, but I'm going to over-explain things because that's the name of the stream. So, we have, because we started with medallion, we have 5 medallions that we can have paths to. Forest, DC, Water, Spirit, Deku. Of those, we don't have anything to Spirit Temple. The game will try to give you one path to each dungeon reward for the seed. And unless I'm mistaken, and it has been a while, but I'm pretty sure I have this correctly, due to the path priority, it will only give you a lower path priority if you have each of the higher priority path dungeons hinted that you are able to get a path into. So the fact that we don't have a Spirit Temple path tells us our Spirit Temple completion or something in Spirit Temple, and therefore the items that are needed to complete Spirit Temple are needed for our other paths, if that makes sense. So we might have, the most likely example is Water Temple is the most difficult dungeon to complete of our other dungeons, although Deku Tree could also be it, because Kokiri Sword could be anywhere. We might have a Kokiri Sword, a Long Shot, or I would normally say Iron Boots, but we found Iron Boots, deep in Spirit, or requiring the same items. So in this case, perhaps behind Spirit. Spirit is our Light Arrow cutscene, so it could be in Temple of Time. These are things that you can try to read into the hints. It's good to keep in the back of your mind. I don't think it's something good to obsess over. That's my 2 cents, to each their own, though. So, just turn day, you could go straight back, and honestly, I would generally go straight back because we now have our 5 path hints, and that's the big thing I'm looking for from hints. But we'll continue, show this route here, and go get our second hint. We do not have Song of Storms. This tracker, when you drag a check onto something, it assumes that you have that check. We did not, but we did drag it because we got the hint for Song of Storms. Colossus's right and left hands are Bombchus and a purple rupee. We saw that earlier, so we get to ignore it. And now that it's day, we can continue and mark it. Normally, I would be buying a Hylian shield with my 99 rupees and getting a refund first. We already have a Hylian shield from Kokiri Forest, so we don't need to do that. We can instead just grab this first. The reason I would buy a shield first is because with the refund, you would then have at least 20 rupees to be able to do a CAC Shooting Gallery. If you do CAC Shooting Gallery first, you are 1 shy. That's not a big deal. You can get some rupees from the top of Bombchu Bowling Alley to make up that 1 rupee. But if you're at 80 rupees, it can become a pain, and that's why I get into the habit of buying the shield first. And we get more Bombchus from the Shooting Gallery, which is fantastic. Another 10 packs, so we have 20 chews, we've spent 5. For Bombchus, I believe there are 3 10 packs in the or 3 10 packs anywhere, 1 20 pack, and 1 5 pack. Because it's an over-explain, you can find a skull over here. Don't need to grab it, but you can. Because Spirit always requires at least 1 specific item, Mirror Shield, it should always have a hint unless that Mirror Shield is taken by a different path. Yes, and that's Sorry, I am late on replying to that, Neil, but you are 100% correct, and that's where the path priority can be very useful. So our mirror shield should be useful for another dungeon. Also, from the bottom there, if you do 7 side hops backwards, release the target, and then go back, you will get 40 rupees. A nice, easy way to get some money. You can go in and out of the Hyrule Castle to reset it. Also, if you do it on the other side without resetting it, you can get 20 additional rupees. You can do it from either side to get the 40. Skull Mask is still dead, a hint that we saw earlier, and we have a big chest. I like grabbing this if I have at least 10 shoes, and we got our bow! Bow will be required for Forest Temple, could be required for a few other dungeons, in this case Water Temple or Spirit Temple logically. Doesn't really change my route because I can't use it as a child, but it's good to have. Anytime you can spend a chew to get a hint and a check, I think it is well worth it. Honestly, I would argue that in most cases, using a chew to get a single check or a single hint is also well worth it. But I like prioritizing my songs. We already got our SFM song. Our other main song as a child is Lon Lon Ranch, so we're making our way there. Never marked that we got our whatchamacallit, SFM song, so now it is marked. Small thing going into chickens, if you go over here and then look to the left, if you don't Z-target him, if you make Link look this direction, he will look that direction when the chickens land, and it makes it a little bit easier to find the correct chicken. Or you can just Papega yourself by having a fun camera. That also works. Normally that works. Maybe it didn't work because I was delayed. But you also get a feel for where the chickens are. Be careful of picking up a chicken near that door. If you leave, sus indeed, Jumper, I'm sorry. If you accidentally click on the door, it will reset the chickens, and I think every runner has done that, so don't feel bad if it happens. We can run in here, do a fancy trick called Steel Stick. If you get about so distance from a Skulltula, aim up and crouch stab, it saves your stick, hence Steel Stick. If you're low on sticks, it's a very nice trick, as long as you need skulls. I like grabbing that skull, back walking, and then side hopping. It puts you right about perfect spot for Malin. And we get Sun Song. Sun Song will make our routing a bunch easier because we don't have to worry about time of day. But normally that's not much of a concern, especially when you start with Prelude. And these settings always start you with Prelude, so kind of a nothing song. It does open the one check in Graveyard. Fun fact, if you walked into the Skulltula with the shield out, you'll be in perfect position to Steel Stick. Just hold down to aim the stick a bit up. Nice! See, and now I'm learning things. Donkashun 7, I appreciate it. You will lose 1 heart from that, though. Time to pick the brain of a top player. Debatable. You can peek this check by rolling into it, but also, hello, Slew, hopefully you're doing well. If you go into this corner, roll, and peek at the right time, you get to see what's in here. In our case, a Deku Shield. We don't really care. So now I'm thinking I've done enough as a child. You could go Gerudo Valley. Valley Lakers rejoice in that route. It's not the route that I like taking in general, so I would rather go adult. But it is a more than fair route. Not if your shield is up, though. It'll shield recoil you to the right position. Okay. So that's why you won't lose a heart. That makes sense. Thank you, 7. We may try that later if we remember, which is debatable. Okay, so first thing as an adult. I want to get to Kakariko. In this case, we start with Nocturne, so that is what I am doing. It is perfectly reasonable to walk out and go to Kakariko. That is my go-to if I don't have Nocturne. And it is perfectly reasonable to save here and quit and see where your spawn is. Again, very few wrong options other than doing nothing. So now, we were here as a child, we checked the shield grave, but we did not check Dampe Race, because we were a child. Can't do it as a child, at least not in these settings. I forgot, there's a rupee on the left in a pot that you can get. I've started the race, so good job me. But if you're short on money, that is a good, easy 20 rupees to grab. Just show it post-race? That is fair. Dankeschön, Slew. For Dampe, the big thing is avoiding his flames and going forward as much as you can, rolling approximately at the correct time intervals. I am not great at the correct time intervals, especially during the Dampe race when I'm trying to dodge things and keep moving my camera as well. If you get to that ledge right there that we just passed, and you press A as if you were going to roll as you get to it, and B immediately thereafter, you will do that hop up and a jump slash if you're on the far left edge. Saves you a little bit of time, makes the race a little bit faster. Nothing off of Dampe race. And actually, I'm going to ruin it, Slew, because we mentioned earlier, one thing I think of with Song of Time is I can play it to go into the windmill. Normally, you would use side hops there or your own preferred method to void out. Otherwise, you get soft locked in this room. But with Song of Time, we will use it to go up here and we find a hookshot. So this saves us from being able or having to do the lower thing. So normally we would jump over here, grab this. We have a hookshot, huzzah! If you come in from the lower area, so you come in through the door, what I tend to do is I come in through the door, I will immediately look to the left, Z target, and plan to side hop right. If you come in through the door, I'm going to go out and in through the door to show the exact spacing. French vanilla, indeed. Still given by Dampe Wraith. But I do this, and then I side hop to the right. That lets me peek the item up there, and then puts me in position to play the song for the windmill person. Everyone has their own slightly different setup. If you see something like hookshot up there, you can jump onto this, turn around, roll forward. Sometimes Link will just fall off like that. He's a bit unpredictable. I'm unsure of a super consistent setup, but most of the time you will jump and then hopefully not jump there. You can try to make it faster, like so. And then run over here and then jump up over here. But since we already have it, we play our song. We get Saria's song, always one of my least favorite songs to get, but good to have because we have Path Lost Woods. So now in the back of my mind, I'm going, maybe Kokiri Sword is needed for that. Because we came from Graveyard, generally there are a few routes you can go. You can run down here to Anju, perfectly reasonable. Grab these 2 checks. We get a strength, okay. So one big thing with that strength, as a good friend of mine, Cinny, put it, Ocarina of Time is a dungeon rush game. Pretty much as soon as you can complete a progression dungeon, and progression in this case is one of your medallions, you should complete said progression dungeon. There are niche scenarios where, like, let's say that I get that strength here, I'm not going straight to, in our case, Forest Temple, because that's the dungeon it lets us complete. I am going to finish Kakariko here, but I am going to gear my route to head to Forest Temple now, so that I can complete it. Forest Temple requires a strength, a hookshot, a bow, and logically forest access, which is either Saria's song or Minuet. We have all of those things now, and in Kakariko, which is one of our path locations, we specifically got hookshot, Saria's, and a strength, which is a lot of our items for it. So we don't know which one of those was path, but one of those was path to it. But continuing our route, I was saying that I won't pick up health. One thing that I will do is I'll try to keep an eye if I have low health. I had 1 1/4 hearts. Therefore, I do pick up this piece of heart because it's convenient and it gives me a heal. So that's sort of where I draw the line. Again, everyone can draw their own. I'm going to go back up to the windmill and show a trick if you're coming from the lower area you can do. Not a particularly fancy trick, but doesn't break any logic. If you make roughly that angle and jump, you can get up here. That lets you get over to this grotto. Don't forget, you can also make 20 rupees by turning around and running into that. We get another hint. Gerudo Fortress still has 0 major items. I like left-clicking on a hint I already have to show myself that I have already seen that hint. From here, if you're coming from the other direction, you can do that. You can then jump up here, and this is how you would get to the windmill check if you were coming from the top side. Because we came from the bottom side, we don't need to do that. We can instead continue down here. We do have a bow, so we can check Adult Shooting Gallery while we're here. Adult Shooting Gallery, I'm keeping an eye for the, whatchamacallit, green rupee that comes up. The reason I shot 2 arrows as something happened was because I was anticipating that it was going to happen, and it didn't. But I have extra arrows, so it's worth trying. We get a slingshot, which unfortunately does very little for us. We know target in the woods is dead, so it won't give us any extra items. One item to note, though, is with Deku Tree having a path hint, we know that slingshot is not part of that, assuming that our bow is available. Now, one side note, our bow is not currently in Logic. We got a bow from Hyrule Field, Bombag Lore. So currently, that slingshot is out of Logic. It's something to keep an eye on. Good, bad, or indifferent, I don't know, but it's just worth keeping an eye on. We also got eye drops. Eye drops are very awkward here. So my personal opinion is learning. Don't worry about keeping your trade quest item to a specific item. Because with the eye drops, we would like to make our way up to Big Goron's sword if we can before we save quit. Because if we save quit anywhere, those eye drops will turn into a prescription. And then we have to go through the entire trade quest if we want to get that check. However, as long as we, don't save quit, eye drops are the second to last item. He will give us a claim check if we give him eye drops, and we can go from there. Because I have bomb shoes, I'm using strength to get some of these checks. Our last hint there was Forest Temple has 2 major items. That's a good hint, not a great hint. We were already going through Forest Temple, so sadly it won't really change our route, but at least now we know in Forest Temple, say if it were a different dungeon, a less linear dungeon, as soon as we get 2 major items there, we can be done. We can stop checking things, we can go mode the dungeon. There are a couple ways of getting these bomb flowers. I'm going to show the fanciest one I know, so I'm going to throw that in the meantime, but with a bow, you can grab this. Go mode forest, great joke, facts, blue heart. But if you have a bow, you can shoot this bomb here. I'm going to shoot above it. I lied, I'm going to shoot into it. So you can shoot that, and then you can wait for about the number of explosions and shoot one farther down the line to quote-unquote cheat the bomb bag or strength or dins and magic requirement. All of those work for this. Also, a bottle with blue fire dropped in the middle will work. But in my mind, I'm going, okay, this bomb flower is 3 deep, that bomb flower is 4 deep. So I'm going to try to count the number of explosions and hit the second bomb on that number of explosions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I think I was 1 too slow, but as long as you're 1 off and you're not doing it in the middle, in between, so at like 1.5, at 3.5, it's fairly lenient. Now we can continue into Dodongo's Cavern. We are doing Dodongo's Cavern because it's our forest medallion. And because, so forest medallion, A, it's a medallion, and B, it's forest medallion. It's a song. We were passing by, there's no reason not to go in. You can backflip up these stairs, and if you're feeling really spicy from here, you can sort of angle down and right, and you can save yourself a tiny bit of time doing a jump there. You will fall a few times, don't feel bad about that. So if you want to do that angle, so be it. If you'd rather just do the backflips and then continue, you can do that and just climb up. Fantastic. Now, you get 20 rupees on each pot close to the stairs. So again, if you're looking for money, it's a great place to find it. The next pot has a rupee or a recovery heart if you have taken any damage. A good skull to grab, and I apologize. I will read chat. I assume clipping into the boss room is not allowed? Yes. Sadly, all clips are not... All clips are not allowed. I really want to say that, but, so as long as it's not one-way collision, all clips are not allowed. I think that's correct. If you roll over here, and again do the peek, you can see what's on the other side. Most clips are illegal, yes. I like backwalking here, but there's nothing wrong with walking forward. The standard rule set is mostly glitched. I tend to line this up by eyesight. You can make this jump, but there are setups for it, and then I peek what's over there. If there's something over here, I will jump and jump slash. In this case, there wasn't, so I wouldn't do that. Now you gotta ask though, which clip is allowed? Oh my goodness. Shadow Temple, the Crusher Room, we get to backflip and clip through it. Yes. Also, I think earlier in this seed there was Kakariko. You can sort of clip through the floor to the back of Impa's house because it's a one-way collision. Yep, a few of them. We get a silver scale here. So silver scale doesn't do a lot for us. The big thing when I get a silver scale is now I know the shortcut between River and Lost Woods is now open to me. It doesn't change my route in this case, but it's just good to know that that is now open. I tend to avoid clicking this because as long as you only are in Dodongo's Cavern once, it's just a waste of time watching the cutscene, but you can use it as a safety net or whatnot. Over here, normally I would drop 2 bombs. I don't have bombs, so I have to use my bomb chews. You can go in here, just hold a bomb chew over your head and let it explode, or you can drop it and quickly throw down a Deku Nut. All of those will work. I'm going to show how you can open it up from the bottom, just because it's an Overexplain video. This is the best way of doing it from the bottom in my opinion. Shoutouts to DT Kim for teaching me this one. You go into this corner here, face the wall, side hop to the right, neutral roll, by which I mean you press A without holding any direction, release Z target during that, so that you can hold Z target again and change your angle. Best setup for sure. Heart, DT Kim has all of the setups. Side hop to the left, and now you're in the right position. So I'm going to do that one more time because I was talking a bunch. So side hop, neutral roll, side hop, you're in the right position. You can hold Z target, you can release it, it doesn't matter at this point. So what you want to do at this point is immediately drop a chew, wait until it about crosses Link's head, and then hold a chew for 1 blink and drop it. I like doing it with a shield drop, it's more consistent that way, but you should be able to do it without a shield as well. So, drop 1, wait for it to pass Link's head, hold 1 for 1 blink, drop it. And that will get you 2 chews to open Dodongo's eyes. If Dodongo's is your last dungeon, or you have a Dodongo's Foolish, that can let you, if you have chews, just skip the dungeon entirely. Nice indeed! You can be really fancy. Technically, you don't need to stay still while those bomb chews are going after you drop the second one. You can run over towards the platform to get ready to jump onto it, or I've seen some runners even jump onto it. You do have time. It is very tight timing, and sometimes you will fall down. And don't feel bad about trying something like that and falling down. Like, the way that you learn which time saves you're comfortable with and which ones you aren't are by trying those things out and learning, nope, I'm not doing that again. Or, oh, that wasn't bad, I'm gonna do that. Just don't climb the ladder during the cutscene? Yes, Zimu. Also, welcome. If you climb a ladder during that cutscene, it will lock you, so do be careful around ladders. I like dropping chews also. I've done it a few times while backwalking. By backflip, press the chew button, and then shield. It makes the chew explode without a Deku Nut. Because we don't have bomb back here, but we do have a strength, if you run away immediately, you are able to get the first bomb off without him shooting fire at you. If you don't go towards the bomb flower immediately, you won't quite have enough time, but that's fine. You just wait for him to spew fire at you and go again at the next one. There is a strategy to complete King Dodongo with bomb chews. If we didn't have a strength, we would have seen it today. I don't recommend it for new to intermediate players, but it does exist. There are actually a couple methods. So if you're interested, I am happy to go through that at some point, or there are plenty of guides out there. But we have our first dungeon completion, huzzah! I like picking up this item, whatever it is, because you have time. Even if you go straight to the blue warp on King Dodongo immediately after killing him, you will still have to wait for a second. So generally, I will just grab this item, whatever it is, because it's almost no time loss. In this case, it's a heart container. I will stop for early heart container. A heart container is well worth it in my opinion, even though I'm a person who doesn't like stopping to pick up heart chests. So, we now have our forest medallion. When we next go to Temple of Time, we can get a free song. However, we said earlier that we are able to whatchamacallit, especially when you see water or fire temple required. Yes. Where was I going with this? My train of thought is not great. We said that we were going towards Forest Temple because it's progression dungeon and we can logically full clear it. So we are continuing there. Don't be sorry, Blue, I appreciate it. However, getting checks on the way, because we still need a lot of items, I like coming over here, making that jump. And you can, especially without magic, hold a spin slash here. You can do it with magic as well, but the entire room will darken and it's harder to see. You can see if there are any big chests in this room. It's hard to see now that we're past the initial stage. I'm going to do it again. You're not terrible, no! But we don't see a big chest in here. You can still go back there and get the hint, which is more than reasonable. Because we're down to 10 chews, I won't, though. But if you have a big chest back there, that will show it to you. Again, to save a chew, I'm going to run over here and wait with the bow. You could do it with a strength as well. There are many different setups and such for this room. The main reason that I want to open this up is because, A, it's a check. For some reason our hookshot was marked as a long shot, I apologize for that. And because we can now get the song from Bolero. So again, we're making our way towards Forest, but we're stopping along the way for the important things. You don't have to do this, I'm just showing it as a, it doesn't take that long to do it with a strength. So you can open this up. There's a hint back here by Metagoron. So if you just have a strength, it doesn't take that long to open this up. You get a hint, Zora's Fountain of Morpha, something we'd already seen. Now, you don't need to do this. I like just stopping here on the way down, shooting this if this weren't already open, and then continuing on to our whatchamacallit, Death Mountain Crater. Now, because Fire Temple is one of our stones, I'm not expecting to have to go into fire. I apologize, Blue. Due to that, you can stop over here and grab a heart from this. It's often very useful coming into Crater. I do sort of want to full clear fire, or not fire, Death Mountain Crater while I'm here getting the song, because I kind of never want to come back here. We get an Epona song. So nothing immediate, but it does open up GTG logically. Songs in particular, high priority checks, since you know they're always at least something useful, and warps are really good. Yes! Sorry, I said good very strangely there. But always prioritize your songs. I say always. Sometimes you do end up with a bunch of items and you can get a bunch of checks done. That's sort of how we ended up with Dodongo's Cavern completed. But yes, I will always prioritize my songs as much as I can. The reason that I stepped out and then back into Death Mountain Crater there is I set my spawn point if I happen to void out any. Blue, full clear, foolish fire anyways. That does sound like blue. So we can get one check here. Burning Cack is still Song of Storms. We don't have Bottle, despite the fact that it looks like we did. You can come up here. You can get this with a Chew. It's easier to do this, whatchamacallit, with a Deku Nut, but you can do it with a backflip there. Water is still foolish. With 4 hearts to start, technically 3.5 when we re-entered this area, I like coming down here, doing a jump slash. Hey, Deku Stick capacity. If it's right on the way, feel free to grab it. It's very useful. And then I side hop off so that I void out, and I'm back at the top, where I wanted to be. Again, you can do this with the Deku Nut, I recommend it. But you can do it with a backflip if you are at the appropriate distance. It's just a little wonky because sometimes Link will inspect the wall if you're too close. And this is something that I do all the time. I try to play ZL when I don't have ZL. Something I do way too often, so don't feel bad about that. However, normally we would skip Big Goron. Because we got the eye drop specifically and we were able to route it in, we just get to get the check done. Now we don't need to worry about whether or not we want to save quit at any point. I would generally only do this blind if I have eye drops or the claim check and I pass by. Because most of the time you get nothing from it. Final reward from Frogs is still a blue rupee. Actually, I'm not sure we had seen that hint yet. So that's our check there, where DT Kim has helpfully put the entire song, in case you do need to play it. So continuing down, I'm still trying to make my way to Forest Temple. That's my end goal. So I am doing that loop to get a bunch of checks and a bunch of hints, and now I am continuing on towards Forest. Still in shock how you got rewarded from that play. It was fantastic when Blue got rewarded for Foolish Fire. Fantastic. Blue just knows everything. Blue is omnipotent. Blue is that good. I was going to show a skip here. I can't do it now. I apologize. If you have Sarias, you can play that there. There is a way to skip past Mido. There are multiple ways, as a matter of fact. I apologize. I should have shown that, and I just autopiloted, because my personal opinion, if you have Sarias, just play it on your first trip through. Ooh! So good to know. I am used to free Scarecrow song. Therefore, I pulled out the Ocarina to get a Scarecrow here. You need to play it in these settings. You need to set it up. Good to know. So there is a way to do this check without it. If you run out here, I'm going to reset the area because I want it to show as if I were running in for the first time. Rip free Scarecrow indeed. So if you run out here, enter this, and then immediately turn around, he will try to attack you, and you can finish him off with a Sword Strike. Just a nice, easy way of getting him out of the way. There is a setup if you face this wall. Will you go over item requirements of dungeons? Yes, at least for the dungeons we have. But let me finish this trick first, Slew. And what are you comfortable with dipping with? Yes. If you don't have them all, yes. So, side hopping twice, or you can side hop more if you want. It's just to get adjacent to the wall. Now, if you do a backflip, turn to the left, side hop, you are at the perfect position. Well, perfect distance left to right. You want to backflip one more time so that you're at the back. See up and look a little to the left. How much? It's fairly lenient, but a little to the left. I don't know if that keeps it or not. And now if you roll forward, you will make a little jump. Once you make the jump, you want to hold to the right so Link catches the ledge. So I'm going to roll forward, hold to the right, and voila! You have skipped the maze. Congratulations. Don't need a shield for that, don't need a hook shot, don't need Scarecrow Song. You can grab these hints. We grabbed them earlier, but if you're coming through first time as an adult, it's very, very useful. So, item requirements for Forest Temple, since that was asked. If only that worked as a child. Fax Jumper. That was a very poor way of avoiding his attacks, but it worked, I guess. We get another song here. Our Serenade, very helpful, very not progression. Not logically required for nothing. Going into Forest. So you need Hookshot to enter it. If you do 3 side hops here and a neutral roll, you are then in the perfect position to hold straight up and Hookshot up and speed up your getting up to this chest. Hookshot to get into it. Saria's or Minuet to access it, which is readily skippable with Mido Skip. A Strength and a Bow to complete it. We see that there's a small chest over there we don't care about, so we can just continue. Forest is a dungeon that I will try to go to if it's progression once I have all of the required items, barring the song. You can backwalk from here. There are several ways to go through Forest. If I don't get a key, I like coming over here. Happy 1 hour! You can grab this skull while you're here if you're looking for skulls. If you're not looking for skulls, don't worry about it. Continue in here. You can roll under him. He won't even hit you. I will not go into Forest Temple unless I have a lot of the songs. That's my personal 2 cents. This is the C setup that I use for almost all of my Forest Temples. You need a bow, hookshot, and Deku Nuts. Makes it very good to get through. If you Deku Nut right as you enter, it will stun 2 of them. You can finish one off while the other one is still getting unstunned. And Jump Slash with Crouch Stabs having the same damage as Jump Slashes let you finish them off. The one area where I will dip Forest is if I get Minuet, or I am otherwise in the region with a hookshot, and I think it might have something. Then it's often worth going in there. So like in this instance, we know there are 2 major items in Forest Temple. If we were here and we didn't have a bow, it would possibly be worth just completing what we could in Forest Temple, looking for those 2 major items. Normally, after completing that dungeon, I would go over here, go with a bow, shoot this, and go into this side area. Especially if you don't have a key, I recommend that route. The other route you can take, because we have a key, is you can go through the door over there. You can use a recoil slash to avoid a potential hover boots requirement to go to the Floor Master and then do Courtyard. Your third way is to play Song of Time on the Song of Time block over here, which also gets you into Courtyard. It's my least favorite method. I only do it if my only way into Courtyard is Song of Time. If you're going to dip Forest, you probably want Song of Time or a bow for Courtyard. Yes. Otherwise, you barely get any checks. I generally agree. Yes. If you really think it's Path, it's not dreadful to grab 2 checks if you have Minuet or are already there. But by and large, I agree with me. We'll grab a skull while we're here. We have a key. We need 5 keys in Forest Temple. And it's a linear dungeon, so we need all of them. At this point, I put away my sword so that I could do a backflip. The Octo is helping as I'm trying to explain this. If you line up under this cross above Link's head, and you do a backflip, flick your shield so that when you neutral roll, you will go forward, and then neutral roll forward. You are now at the perfect distance to hold down on the aiming, or aim upward, use a hookshot, and grab this ledge. I don't mind letting the Skulltula hit me there, or Skullwaltula, excuse me. But you can avoid the hit by slowing down. It's more than reasonable. You can open that switch. You can choose not to open that switch with Iron Boots. It's probably a little bit better, but it's very minor. Deku Nuts are the best thing in the game. They stun everything. And we have our boss key. Okay, so don't need to worry about that later. Again, Forest Temple is a very linear dungeon, so I'm not too worried about going through the entire... worried about, oh, how many keys do I have? Do I have the boss key? That sort of thing. Whereas for other dungeons, I am worried about those things. You can do the peek there, which is again just roll into the wall and then press C up at the appropriate time. Grab this. I like hookshotting out of here. Some people will jump onto the chest and then hookshot out. It might be a little bit faster. And we have courtyard complete outside of the floor mask. So now we can head over here. Sometimes I can get a fancy trick here, and I did! If you go too far to the right there, Link will not be able to grab the ledge and will pop up. But if you don't do a jump slash at the right time, and sometimes even if you do, Link will then fall off. So it's a fun little trick. I don't do it more for the time save, I do it because it's fun. If you have hover boots, you can use hover boots to run over there at this point and then go over to the floor master check. We do not. So we will run over here. I like pushing the blocks in this order generally. So I will push this one twice. Climb up here. Push this to the back. Nope. That was a bad Z target. Don't mind me. Shoot this to get one more check out of the way. And then I will side hop from here. And now we're in the perfect spot to push this, climb up it, and push the red block the rest of the way. For the other dungeon requirements that we have, since Forest, well, we have another trick coming up here, but we went through DC earlier. DC, if you have a bomb bag and its progression, you should go through. If you have a strength and you think something's in there, it's more than reasonable to go through. DC is a lot of checks. What we did there was we faced the wall and we sidewalked to the left so that Link fell off, but caught the ledge. Then as we climbed back up, we press Z target to be facing, or get the camera facing this direction. From here, you can use a hook shot, because you have a hook shot being in here, to roughly line up like so. You can use now if you do a jump slash, however, be aware that if you just pull out your sword, it will change your spot. So for example, like so. You have to walk a little bit forward if you do that. Otherwise, you have to do something that you don't swing your sword. Z target and jump slash, you will recoil back into this alcove. And that lets you skip a potential hover boots requirement. Fight the floor master here. See if he gives us anything. But Dodongos, if you have bomb bag, you should do it. If you have enough chews, and a strength, you should probably do it, because you need 3 chews apps for sure. And with the strength, you can always do King Dodongo. Dodongo's Cavern is just good density, so I recommend doing Dodongos when and if you can. If you don't have any of those, if you just have a few chews, then it gets a little bit dodgy. You can enter the dungeon, save, and then use some of your chews and scum them back if you don't get anything. It's more than reasonable. Again, I feel like a lot of the options are, as long as you're doing something, you're playing the game correctly. That's my two. Now, coming up here, having 2 keys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose to assume that this check is nothing. It's probably the wrong choice, but you can sometimes save yourself some time. In this case, we did. We have a small chest up here, so we don't need to go back and shoot the eye switch. It's a gamble either way. Also, a fun little thing you can do that looks really snazzy. When you come in here, so you come over here, you check this, see that? Z target and side hop, it looks really snazzy. And yes, Wolf Max Skits is the best. But I like then backflipping over the fence, for lack of a better term. Guardrail, whatever it is. Shooting those 3. I like shooting the Poe once here, pulling out a sword, Deku Nut, Jump Slash, and Crouch Stab. The Crouch Stab has a particular timing that you just get a feel for. If you don't do it that way, whether you try that and it doesn't work, or you have a different method, just use another Deku Nut anytime it turns invisible, and it will reappear. Roll forward once, Deku Nut, that will stun the first Stalfos. You still have a Crouch Stab from the previous room. Don't go over the hole, because you might fall in and reset the room. With this first Stalfos being completed, I like to Deku Nut the next set. Hit one for twice, hit the other one twice, and a third time. Because these Stalfos will reset if you take too long on one of them. So I like hitting one twice, then going to the second one. We can then side hop up this, shoot the blue Pope pictures if we can hit them. Hungry Deku Nut, hunted by Stalfos, Deku Nut. It's a dark Deku Nut. Yes, Deku Nuts do everything. And same setup as the red Poe. If we had been counting keys, we would know this has to be a key, because you need 5 keys in Forest Temple, and this is the last possible spot for one. We were 1 short. Over here, you have 3 pots. The first one gives a recovery heart. The next 2 give 10 arrows each. So if you're ever short on arrows, it's a great place to get them. Also, if you're short on health, 1 extra health. I like side hopping through that room. I don't think it's the most efficient route, but it's not bad. If you take that jump at an angle and use a jump slash, you can get it. We're going to try to get a quick shot here, but we don't always get it. Hey, and we got it. Generally, I don't recommend trying to get that as you are starting to learn this. Just go 1 farther and wait for it to appear. But if you want, you can get it. That's the fastest way I know of getting it. You remember using your arrows here, knowing you will get them back? Yes. In this room, if you do a forward jump, hold to the right, and then a jump slash, you will put yourself in about this safe zone. So it's just a little bit of a time save as you're going through the dungeon. Can then run over to the switch, and then grab this chest. One of our 2 major items here. A Poe bottle, okay. The one particularly nice thing about having a Poe bottle there is now Ice Cavern is available to us. Ice Cavern requires logically Ruto's letter to be turned in. We could avoid that. In our case, because Zora's Fountain is path, that could be very important, and I do want to make my way. Granted, it is path to Morpha, and we can already complete Water Temple, because we have Iron Boots, Water Hop is allowed, and we have a hookshot. Oh, right. I forgot I can't Z-target there. So I'm going to fight this one the normal way. I'm terrible at Green Poe. But we have a bottle. I am now somewhat prioritizing going into Zora's Fountain, less because I want the long shot that I expect is there, and more because our Mirror Shield could be blocking our long shot or one of our other items, but therefore we might find a Mirror Shield there for our Spirit Temple, which is not hinted. Speaking of dungeons and when you go there and whatnot, or dipping them or completing them, Water Temple we are close to being able to complete. We currently don't have ZL. It may be completable, and it's not bad to dip in there if you want to, because we have Serenade. I would not walk over there without ZL. Game, please. I'm not in a hurry to complete Water Temple. It does give us our Song of Storms, which is very, very nice. But it's not high on my priority list. I did this the wrong way because I've been playing too much Triforce Blitz. So you want to go counterclockwise in this room. Gosh, dang it. My gameplay is definitely not top tier today. I am very bad at over-explaining the things I do and playing at the top of my game. I apologize. Alright. We already peeked the item behind us, and I went the wrong way. If you Z-target against that wall, and then just backflip when you get to the elevator, you can just keep going. Playing multiple mods is bound to be confusing, Monka S? Yes. So Triforce Blitz there, you don't have to do the switches, you can just go straight to Phantom Ganon, and therefore all you care about is the check-in. You don't have to go counterclockwise, you go clockwise. So in here, as long as you have a bow or hookshot, and you're guaranteed to have a hookshot because you are in Forest Temple and this does not have dungeon entrance randomizer, and it's glitchless. You should be good for this fight. Water is a dungeon as far as dipping that I tend not to dip pretty much ever, unless it is path, or I think I might be able to complete it, and that is sort of my go for the sea. So if Water Temple was all that we had left, I would be very happy going there. However, because we have Spirit and Deku also left to complete, I'm not in a huge rush. I do want to get there eventually, because it has our Song of Storms. Ah, and our other major item that we were guaranteed here, a big Goron sword. Not logically useful, but very, very helpful. Now, anytime you complete Forest Temple, I like grabbing the 2 hints over here. So I will just immediately go to the left, run over to here, Lost Woods to Queen Goma, nothing new there. You can, similar to the route as a child, go up the leg that we were near, or as an adult, if you have hover boots or are comfortable with this jump, and I'm sometimes comfortable with this jump, come up here, and then do that. You normally make that. The jump is a little bit finicky, but you can get up there and get this other hint. So now, because I don't have a lot to do and I want songs, I am going to just play Prelude and see what our song is from completing Dodongo's Cavern. I really want ZL. That is the main thing I am looking. And we get Minuet, which does not help us, and makes us sad that we didn't come straight here. So now I'm thinking that my ZL, where can my ZL be? My ZL could be behind Water Temple, except we have it hinted. Otherwise, my options are Composer Grave, Ice Cavern, and Across the Desert. Due to that particular selection, ZL has to be across the desert, because there are no other logically applicable options. Now, I'm going to take a gamble here, and it is a gamble. I'm guessing I need Requiem for Spirit Temple. There could be Requiem in Ice Cavern, and I need to go to Zora's Fountain to check what is over there anyways. As I'm saying this, I'm realizing the mistake in my play. If I had hover boots, I could do this, because you can get into Zora's Domain as an adult with the hover boots. Not logically, but you can. Without the hover boots and without ZL, I can't do that. So it would be my play, it can't be my play. In this case, I still haven't seen my adult spawn. I'm curious what it is, so I'm going to find out what that is. It is in the middle of market, so again, just moving because I always want to keep moving. I'm going to do a slightly, or actually I'm just going to, now that I'm out here, the big thing is I need to make my way to get ZL. I know ZL is across the desert, therefore I want to do everything I can to get over there. We already checked the grotto near us. We can grab on the way our Tektite grotto, because we have iron boots. See if there's anything there. So we do have to pull out our shoes. Equip a Begoron sword because we can. And nothing down there. I am not worried about keeping all of our chews because A, we've done a lot of the bomb checks and we still have 6 chews. Also, we're going to be passing by GTG and we know that it has our path bombing. Most likely, based on our path hint of GTG is path to King Dongo. You could, while riding through here, get the remaining Hyrule field checks. It's more than reasonable. You could also even go into Lake. Although, without Free Scarecrow, Lake doesn't really do any. So, now that we have Eponas, we can grab this. You can go into this tent here, which resets your spawn point. So now if you happen to Death Warp, you will respawn there. Hold Z target while falling so that sometimes you can see what's over there. It looked like an arrow. GTG to King Dodongo and the hint. And now we can let the big the Octos Death Warp us. And now we get back up to the top. So as an adult, you get to check the waterfall, check the hint, and not have to go to Lake. Quick, easy setup to check the Gerudo Valley crate as an adult with choose. Go there, side hop left twice, back flip left twice, turn around, shield drop a chew. And run over here. And see that our gold scale is over there. That is interesting. Can run over here, peek this, see that it's a heart container chest. And before we go into GTG, I will play Sun Song because I want it to be daytime while I'm... That way, if I so choose, I could do HBA. As I say that, I realize that Gerudo Fortress has 0 major items, and I will not be doing HBA. So normally, if I did not know Gerudo Fortress had 0 major items or was foolish, I would let the guards catch me so that I got thrown into prison, and using a hookshot, I could peek the chest on Gerudo Fortress roof. Because we know that there are 0 major items here, I will not be. Easiest way for this fight is jump slash before talking to the carpenter. If you have a hookshot, run over to here, aim a little bit above the fire, then turn around away from the fire and crouch step. You will lose a little bit of health most of the time, but it's a very simple way to defeat the Gerudo Guard. Don't forget to actually release the Gerudo Guard. You can leave before releasing them, and you will get thrown into prison. I have done it more times than I care to admit. There is also a 20 rupee pot in the guard room where we fought the guard. If you have no money and you are trying to get into GTG, don't forget to grab that pot. I apologize, I should have shown it. The 2 pots near it have a recovery heart if you are damaged, otherwise a single rupee, and a bit of arrows. I think it's 10 arrows. So, going through GTG, I like going the Song of Time side first. It's my personal preference. We know we're not going to find a bomb bag over here, but we do get a lot of information. Nothing bomb locked in here. But because we have Song of Time, I am interested in seeing what's in the maze from this angle. I find it easier to view the entire maze from the Song of Time side, so if I come in and have Song of Time, I will just default to going this direction. I'm going to avoid the key for the moment because I don't know if I need keys in the maze. It looks like I have something 5 key locked in the maze, so I do indeed. Well, something 2 key locked. I will include, since I'm already here, going up to this check. And please. Because it's 2 more relatively easy checks. And please. And I aim at work. I apologize. And normally I would skip toilet. This time I will do toilet, not because I think it's particularly good this seed, although with a potential path Iron Boots, it is more than reasonable. I will be doing it just to show how I complete toilet. Although with the number of hearts we have, it may prove interesting. We'll find out. I think we'll have to collect the rupees. Yes, we'll collect the rupees, void out, and death warp from that. And then come back to it. So, the way I like grabbing the rupees is the one from that room if you're coming from this side, which is, I think, the best way. Jump over to here, grab these. You can use jump slashes to avoid some of those climb ups. Hit the switch for the last one. Jump up here. And grab this. Normally I would now side hop and void out, but that will kill us, so I'm just going to save and quit. Also going to mark that Big Goron had nothing on our tracker because we actually checked it. So normally I would not have collected those silver rupees. I would not be going back here for toilet. I would say, I have 5 keys, I want to see what's in the maze, and I'm probably done in here, assuming I get a bomb bag from the maze. But just to show, because it's an Overexplain video, how we do toilet, we're going to do toilet. So I like Z targeting, and I will hold Z target for this entire thing. I equipped Iron Boots, and I go straight back, and I get this rupee. Go to the right, grab this one, unequip Iron Boots, re-equip Iron Boots. You don't have to do that, but just, I get into the habit. Equip and unequip Iron Boots to grab that one semi in the air, and then unequip them and go up to the top to grab this last one. It's nothing, so we can just quit back. So now, as we had mentioned, we have 5 keys. We have 2 major items in the maze that are up to 5 key locked. 7 key locked logically, because the game will assume that you spend them on the Song of Time side. I will go ahead and check this upper area as well. Big chest, and a small key, deep bow locked. There's another bow. So now our bow that was bomb locked is probably in logic, but not guaranteed. Magic. Magic is amazing. Where is our magic on this tracker? There it is. It gives us use of our dins. So now as we go through to whatchamacallit, Colossus check, we can get Haunted Wasteland. And there's our bomb bag. That's all we wanted from in here. You could continue. It's more than reasonable. I am not going to. So we got our bomb bag out of GTG. We also got a magic. Sometimes it's good to mark the items you get from everywhere, just so that later on, maybe a path makes more sense. And we got a bow. We did not get double magic. Now, with Gerudo Fortress being foolish or 0 major items, question, how do you defeat E. Cola? Magic. I still don't know how. Despite having done it once, I have no idea. Hello, Kawari, hopefully you're doing well. Honestly, listen to Ink and take all of the ridiculous routing decisions you can. You can hookshot that ladder and then climb up a little bit faster than climbing from the bottom. Okay, doing this. Normally you require long shot or hover boots to cross this chasm, because if we just run across, Link will say, no! Yes, these are things everybody knows. However, if you come over to this side, roughly line up Akso and backwalk, you can still fall in. This is what I get for trying to explain things as I do them. I'm the worst. I was prepping to say, and side hop at the end. Didn't get there. This gets you around the long shot and or hover boots requirement for it. Now you can follow the flags, and we get to do lensless forward wasteland, which is a fun trick. If you ever have trouble finding the flags in here, you can stop, do a spin slash, and it will highlight them in a way. So just be aware that you can do that. Because we got the magic in GTG, we can check this and hope to make Sadie very happy. Sadie Sweet is a lovely person who always enjoys when Haunted Wasteland has an item. It does not today. I'm sorry, Sadie. I will grab some health because we are very low on health. And the gold Skulltula token because we are collecting them. Only with magic, though. For the spin slash, actually, it will highlight them even without magic. Unfortunately, I can't show that here because you can't undo having magic. Okay. So, lensless forward wasteland. The way that I know how to do it is you go to the back of this and you find this flag. From here, follow the first of the lines in the sand until you start going up again. Now turn to the left and run this way. Really weird, it is weird. As soon as you go past this point here, you want to cross over to the left side of another seam, if you can see it. There's a seam right to Link's right here. Go to the left side of that, and now you can climb up this hill. As soon as you reach the top of this seam, right about here, you want to look over here, find the... Nope. Thank you, Navi. Find the box over there, go over a little bit to the right, and if I have a hook shot out, maybe it's easier to see? Not really. Okay, so above the red dot, there's sort of like, you can see where a seam dips and hits a second seam, or a vertical line, a white-ish line hits a seam. That is what you are aiming for. So at this point, I will turn around and backwalk, but you can run forward, it does the same. For a bit, now that I have gone a decent distance, as soon as you are even with this seam going towards the flags, you can just run towards the flags. That is the way I know to do forward wasteland. There are multiple methods. Normally, we would go over to the right here and check the Great Fairy. Unfortunately, we don't have ZL yet. Fortunately, we're about to get it. We have a bottle with a fish on the arch. You can see it if you're just going forward there. And we do not care about that. We already have a bottle. We should not need that. From this corner, you can peek and see if this chest is big. In our case, we didn't need to because we have a Colossus Hands hint. We know that that should be a purple rupee up there, but you can do it. We will walk into Spirit Temple and walk right back out because we can't do anything in here, but we should get our ZL because it's the only logical location that ZL could be. While we wait for it, we go towards the hint stone. We do in fact get ZL. If you didn't see the item earlier, back walking here, you can see it near the C buttons. And grab our hint. Deku Tree is still Path to the Hero, which still astounds me that we got that. So, now, big thing is, again, prioritizing songs. We now have ZL. As soon as you get ZL, if you also have Nocturne, it's a great play to just go straight to Composer Grave and get another song. Even better, we have Magic and Dins as an adult, which means we can get the check on the way. You can also get this check as a child with just a Deku Stick. Takes a little bit of a setup, though. I should have, when the last Keese died, started my Dins animation. Honestly, I forgot. A little bit of a time save. Not a big chest, though, so we get to ignore. We are hoping to find Requiem here. If we don't find Requiem here, what we're thinking is we would like to still get Requiem, therefore we will go to Ice Cavern if this is not Requiem. And it's Bolero, so we are going to Ice Cavern. Bolero is one of the better ways of getting to Ice Cavern quickly. And we know that Requiem is in Ice Cavern because it's the only song location that we don't have checked and is not yet hinted. So, arguably one of the fastest ways to get to Ice Cavern, assuming you have Iron Boots or Silver Scale, or Gold Scale, and Bolero, is play Bolero, and assuming you have Hook Shot, Long Shot, or Hover Boots, play Bolero, go into Goron City, go into Lost Woods, and take this through. Now, way back in the start of the game, we spawned in Zora's Domain as a child, so we have checked Zora's River outside of the Frogs in the Rain. So we don't need to check Zora's River, otherwise this would be a great time to go down Zora's River and check. Also, another play you could make now that you have ZL is to just go get your Song of Storms. And it's more than reasonable too, because you should be able to complete Water Temple. The only reason you can't complete Water Temple right now is if your boss key is vanilla on the boss key chest. That would require either Hover Boots or the Long Shot. Logically, the Long Shot. Side hop up those stairs and check a hint. More stuff we already knew about Spirit Temple. And we get to show KZ skip. So, this is out of logic, but a very good trick to know. You line up your head roughly like so with a little dark patch in the wall. Pull out your sword. Turn around. Jump slash, and while you're jump slashing, hold the shield button. That gives you the right position. You can see Link's feet sort of hanging off. See up, and aim about like so. It's very lenient. But anywhere in like this, well, anywhere from about here to about here should work. Press A, hold forward. If you see that happen where Link doesn't jump, that means you were too far to the right. So you need a little bit farther to the left. Alternatively, I'm going to go too far to the left, so this is too far to the left. If you try it from here, Link, when you jump slash, won't be as far forward as he should be. So those are nice visual cues as you're troubleshooting this trick. And apparently we don't know how to do it. This feels too far to the right, but we're going to try it. And that time it worked. Good luck, Mentor. Dankeschön, Brasler. Have a good night. I'm assuming that you're going to bed semi-soon. So, coming in here, I like going to the right if I'm clearing Zora's Fountain, which is most of the time, and especially when Zora's Fountain is path. And run over here. get the Great Fairy check here. Just do what feels wrong and it'll work. Facts. Honestly, I feel like that's true a lot of the time. Piece of Heart, that's not our path item here. Flame check leads to a Piece of Heart. That's the hint for the item we got. A blue rupee up there, so nothing. So we know we needed iron boots for this. Therefore, our Lost Woods to Goma path makes more sense. And it's a long shot down here, as expected. Because our Lost Woods path is still unresolved to Goma, we have not full cleared Lost Woods, so there still could be a Kokiri sword in there. But tentatively, I'm thinking long shot probably locks our Kokiri sword. Mark that we got that there. Are we going to suffocate? We might. We are! Dang it! So I screwed up. With 4 hearts, you don't have to suffocate there. Or drown, take your pick. You can, on the way down, unequip and re-equip your hover boots to reset the timer. That will get you around suffocating there. I highly recommend it. Not the worst if you do, though. And I don't know why I refuse to say the word drown. I apologize. I'm going to show a small trick here. It doesn't work well with a big Goron sword, so I'm going to equip the Master Sword, and while we're at it, we'll equip a bottle. So, you 100% can come over to one of these platforms, and I recommend just holding up against it. That way you climb up, you jump over here, you're good to go. That only works on the spinning platforms. If you try it on one of these not spinning ones, this will happen. If you have hover boots, you can equip hover boots to avoid that. Link can just climb up. Or, without hover boots, if you mash the B button with a Master Sword, you can jump slash onto it, although it is a bit finicky. So, going to re-equip the Bigoron sword. We wouldn't have unequipped it. There are some faster ways of going about this, but with Bigoron sword, just jump slash, crouch stab, crouch stab, crouch stab. You can use spin slashes on them, lots of different options. The way I like going through the Silver Rupee room is go to the left, grab that, grab this, crouch stab, and use the recoil to get to that one. Now we can jump off and grab the last one, and we're good to go. Drink a big po to see if we lose a health. We do. Po's are the best. Brag, heart, I'm sorry. That's the way I like going about it. It doesn't always work so fancy, but it looks fancy when it does work. With a hook shot or a long shot here, you can go over to this. Grab blue fire. Don't forget to check the chest while you're here. And it's small. If you want to save a little bit of time, you can side hop that and use the jump from the first ledge to catch the second ledge, if that makes sense. Melt some more ice. We are mainly in here for the song, but we could actually have something in here. I tried to peek the item on the left, and I'll be honest, I didn't quite get a good look at it, so we will re-peek it. Nothing on that side, and a boomerang on this side. We don't want our boomerang, but if it's right in our path, we will pick it up just in case we need it. Also, we didn't pick up the Skulltula earlier in the main room. It's more than reasonable to. Also, this one, Ice Cavern has a good number of readily available skulls. If you're ever low on health, these pots will provide some. And grab this skull while we're here. I think that puts us up to 10? Yep. So now we don't need any more skulls. Let's see. Link, please leave the corner. So, if you want a simple way, I should have explained this. I'm going to leave and re-enter the room, because I should have gone into some small detail of what I was doing. So, room is deloaded and reloaded. I like jumping over here, climbing up. This gives the keys enough time to go away, grabbing this, and running over here. You can use a ground jump, which drop a bomb, go to where you're grabbing, or where the grab is the A button click, and boy, I can't. Okay, so if you know how to store a ground jump, fantastic, you can do it with ground jumps. I will explain ground jumps here in a second because I could just confuse myself. So, you take a bomb, drop it, pull the sword out, block, press A while it says grab, you've now stored a ground jump. The next time that you would backflip, you will instead do a ground jump. If you want to be fancy, you can also do glitchless jumps for this room. Don't have your sword out, go to this spot in the middle here, look to the left, side hop, neutral roll, side hop, back up, go forward. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but without a bomb bag, it's very useful. Similarly, you can use a ground jump here, or you can come up to this pillar, look to the right, look a little more to the right, backflip, and aim Oxo. From this third one, you can jump from here. You can again do a ground jump or put away your sword. Face this wall. Side hop left, right, neutral. 2 crouch stabs. Backflip, wait for Link to stop. Side hop to the right and hold forward. And that's backup glitchless jumps. There are faster methods. Those are the methods that I know. I like hookshotting this and then hitting it in the back. Sometimes you can get a jump slash to immediately kill it. I haven't been able to get it in a while. No major item, but we will be getting our Requiem here. So now that we have our Requiem, we have a few options open to us. We have our long shot and everything to complete water. So honestly, I think that's what we do next. But with Requiem, you could do Child Spirit and see what's there. The one main reason that I really like doing water first, are ground jumps generally allowed for your races? Yes. Ground jumps are considered glitchless. I like getting water completed here because it gives us Song of Storms. Once we have Song of Storms, we get access to Bottom of the Well, and we can loop that in for when we go Child and do Child Spirit, and perhaps find something there, because right now we still have our long shot our long shot iron boots are potentially path to Queen Goma. From our Lost Woods to Goma path, only finding iron boots. So, with that in mind, I play Serenade, and I will go to Water Temple. Interesting, since it's classified as a glitch, you thought. Yes, it might be. I'm not sure as to the particular reasons, but my assumption is that it's just so simple to do and so generally helpful that It is allowed for convenience. Now, here in whatchamacallit, Water Temple, we know it's foolish, we just want to get the boss key and leave. That is our only goal. So, with a long shot, I enjoy going down here and coming up this way. If I didn't have a long shot, I would check the compass room first, generally. It's just easy to do with iron boots on your way. We had a small key in the wall, good to know. I am not overly worried about it. If it were a boss key, we would use choose to be able to grab it without lowering the water level to the mid-level. And we will show that trick regardless, I'm just not sure I would do it. In a race scenario, that is. We have another key here. The big thing in Water Temple is you want to get 2 keys. Once you have 2 keys, you can save scum all of the checks. So, I'm going to equip a bomb chew. Walking out of this door, if you hold a bomb chew over your head for 4 flashes, release it, it will explode the wall for you. And now with iron boots and hookshot or longshot, you can hookshot over the chest, mash A, and open it underwater. Lower the water level, we now have our 2 small keys that we said we needed. So we don't care about picking up more small keys, we just want our boss key, wherever it may be. And it's getting through the dungeon as quickly as possible with the most number of checks. You can do that in a number of ways, depending on which route you like. And please. I'm going to show you the route that I generally always get a bunch of arrows from this room. From here, I will save, and because I'm saving, I'm going to re-equip my bombs. And now I will head over to the whatchamacallit boss key chest and see if we have a vanilla boss key. With the long shot we now have, that is possible. Now this room has a weird setup. You side hop left twice, neutral roll, side hop right twice, left once, neutral roll, side hop right twice, and go forward. If you have hover boots, you can avoid that setup. Also here, if you don't have iron boots for some reason, you can line this up, roll forward, and get under here. Otherwise, you will have difficulty diving down. It is not a boss key, so we reset and get our 2 keys back. From here, with our particular setup, I like using a bow, using long shot to go over here, and we get to peek another check. Another small key, so we're still looking for our boss key. Can leave this area. Can backwalk from here and fall down. There is a way to peek this chest earlier. I am unfamiliar with it, so I'm going to run over and use the long shot to actually climb up. If it's the boss key, then we save time. Otherwise, we lost time. We lost time. And now we can check Central Pillar. You could go to Dragon Chest. I like looping it in at the end, and if the boss key is there, that is just unfortunate. But again, water I would probably not dip into unless I had no other choice. Of our spiritual stones, fire is awkward. It's good density, but it's difficult to get to, and it's fairly linear, so it's difficult to justify dipping into. If you set up about here, let yourself go up and hold Z target, you get to peek that chest in the top right. We see it's a key, so we don't need it. The ratio of checks to keys in water is way too bad, yes. Fire is debatable, depends on if you talk to blue or not. Does having or not having access to river chest factor into your willingness to do dragon early? For sure. If I don't have Song of Time, I will often do whatchamacallit, the dragon chest before going to the what do you call it? Central pillar check. Also, fun little side thing there. It's much easier with a long shot. It is doable with a hook shot. You can get up to this point by having that side angle that we just showed. Well, if you talk to blue, there's only one right option. Facts! But yes, Dragon Chest, I think you only delay on it if you have Song of Time. This is a bit of a trick. You can raise the water level by going through that door, going through the normal area, which will put you up there. If you have hover boots, it's also fairly free to just run over there and grab the ledge. If you don't have hover boots, there is this trick here, which you have to line up roughly like so. Hold shield, run forward, go a little bit to the left, and mash B. Lets you skip a little side room while raising the water level. Sometimes Link refuses to jump when going down there. No one knows why, or at least I don't. So we are pretty much last locating our Water Temple boss key, which is unfortunate. However, going through this room with a long shot is quite good. With a long shot, you don't have to raise and lower the water level as much. You can just jump over here. And by jump, I mean long shot. Most runners will do a similar route, yes. Unless you have a Song of Time path, so you're not actually losing time, even if you last locate the boss key. That is fair. But, sorry, that came out longer than I thought. Louder than I thought. My voice, like, popped there. I'm not sure what happened. You can choose to take a different route just to get an advantage over your opponent. Most often, I will do stuff like that if I think I'm behind them. So, if I'm facing the likes of E. Cola, and it's been a longer-ish seed, I will go ahead and choose to maybe go Dragon Chest first, because I feel like I'm behind, and I'm guessing E. Cola will not go to Dragon Chest first. So maybe I can make up a bit of time there. And so far, it's looking like 50-50 that Dragon Chest was the correct choice. This isn't Triforce Blitz and there are boss keys removed, right? Be horribly embarrassing. But you can go over here. We'll find out if we wasted a bunch of time in the dungeon or not. And we did. You had a boss key in Forest? I did. Okay. Funny game. So we know this is a boss key, but if we didn't know that, you can look at this wall, roll forward and peek, and you can see it. Also here from the top, you can aim down, shoot that. As soon as you regain control, aim to the right, side hop to the left, and you are in. Save quitting is the fastest way to get out. We should mark our adult spawn. We did actually note it. And we don't have to deal with water hop because we have long shot, so we can just head straight over here. I like trying to get this side hop and back walk if I'm fast enough, which today I am. And we'll see if we get the quick grab on Morpha. If you hold forward during this, the target long shot. We were a little slow. For some reason, our first button push of the long shot did not take. You will be able to grab that quickly and not have to deal with the first tentacle grab. But if you miss it, it's no big deal. You just wait for Morpha to attack, wait for this second climb up, bring it to the corner here, or one of the actual corners rather than the door corner, and defeat Morpha. Water is foolish, so we definitely don't care about the item in here. And conveniently, whenever you defeat Water Temple, the time of day will be correct for Shoot the Sun. So it's always good to get into the habit of, I defeated water, just shoot the sun real quick, just in case. Nothing today, but oh well. Now, big thing is, the main reason we did this was A, it's progression, and B, it got us Song of Time. Or not Song of Time, Song of Storms from Burning Cat. Therefore, the next thing we do is play Nocturne and go get our Burning Cat song. We also, while we are here, have collected 10 skulls, and we're right next to the check, so we will see if there is anything on 10 Skulltulas. Sadly, there is not. Skulltula enjoyers in shambles. But now we can continue with our child route that we had planned, where we will first do Spirit Temple, because it is progression, and then we will do, whatchamacallit, Bottom of the Well, and see if that Song of Storms leads to anything, because we have the Iron Boots on the path to our Quingoma. If neither of them lead to anything, we will full clear Lost Woods for sure. Fun setup if you don't want to aim for backwalking this. If you side hop to the right, neutral roll, Z target, turn around, and walk backwards, you're at a great angle as a child or adult to make it across here. I'm going to show a fun thing I've been experimenting with a broken stick here. People will just break a stick against the wall here, which is fair. If you use 2 Dekunauts and get the right angle on him, you often get a broken stick off of the Armos. So I'm currently experimenting with that and seeing how far I can push it. Big chest and spirit. We're here because it's progression, but if we just get something here, then fantastic. Normally you would use a ranged weapon. If you use a bomb chewin on the second flash, release it against this wall though, it will go up and about and explode at the perfect time to get this switch hit. I'm also going to show off the normal way because you would have a slingshot equipped from the previous room normally. So the normal way that I would get this room done is aim here, about like so, Z target, As soon as you release the slingshot, backflip. What happened was we voided out at the start of the Anubis dying to the fire, and therefore the door opened and we skipped the cutscene. We have a mirror shield from Spirit. That is huge. So that's one of the major items we needed that was not directly hinted, which is fantastic for us. It also means that Rudo's letter, because Requiem is required for that mirror shield, and Requiem was an ice cavern, is on our path to Twinrova and anything behind it. So that is just good to keep in the back of our mind. However, it doesn't change our initial route because we don't have Strength 2, despite the fact that it is listed for some reason. What's the next lower term to French vanilla, right? While we're here, a low sphere check is child chickens. You can grab one chicken coming out of graveyard there, run over to here. The easiest way to get this chicken is go about to here and throw a Deku Nut, then stay to the right until the chicken falls off. And take the last two in. Please. You need 3 chickens in these settings, at least I hope you do, because I'm assuming you do. And therefore, from graveyard, those are the easiest 3 chickens, in my opinion. So, now that we're getting closer to the end of the seed, with 2 dungeons left, it's always good to keep in the back of your mind, what do I need for go mode? I need my light arrows, my strength 2, and my Kokiri sword. So just, if I get all 3 of those items, I need to go mode everything. Also, you can remove light arrows from that to be in glow mode, and generally it's a good idea, if you're in glow mode, to go mode everything, ignore everything you don't need, and get your hint of light arrows from Gammon. Can use a Deku Nut there. Makes it very easy to get past the giant Skulltula. There are a few ways of going about this room. Honestly, I don't think mine is the best, but this is the one that my muscle memory remembers. We have a key there, good to know. Nothing else immediate. Avoid the center because there's a visible floor, but it is non-existent. Maestriel Sensei, hello Rune, hopefully you're doing well, although that honorific is far too great for me. From here you can see that there's a big chest as we go this direction, so we will stop by. We should not have unequipped our Deku Nuts there, because we will want them later. So that's our mistake. But there's our Kokiri sword, okay. So now our Lost Woods path is fulfilled. Lost Woods, Iron Boots, were required to complete, whatchamacallit, Water Temple, and those eventually led to our Kokiri Sword. So I will mark Kokiri Sword, mark it later on that path. If we hadn't have checked this check, I would go over here and peek it, see if it's a key. Actually, since we already messed up our item layout, I'll go ahead and re-equip the Deku Nuts and equip a Boomerang. Few ways you can look at this check. You can go here and you can sort of see through the coffin. You can just side hop over until you can see through that one. You can see it's a blue rupee. Alternatively, facts, Koari. Blue is the best. Hashtag pro blue. Alternatively, if you have a boomerang, you can face this, look to the right. Although, okay, that looks good. Throw your boomerang side hop left, and it should bring it to you. Blue wants to be good as Koari. Koari wants to grow up to be blue. This sounds like a, why can't I think of the word? Conundrum. That's not the word I'm thinking of, but it will do. Heart. We are staying in here for a bit because we still need a strength 2. We don't know where it is. So I'm staying because I don't want to ever come back to bottom of the well. A feedback loop, yes, that will work. Also not what I was looking for, but it will work. A paradox is what I was looking for. Ramon would be disappointed in me. We do have a big chest here. Our wallet, unfortunately, it does very little. If you go against a wall, backflip away, neutral roll after making sure your neutral roll goes forward, you can get broken stick. That's off of any flat wall. I'm going to try to be fancy with Dead Hand and get a quick kill by using jump slashes. And we got one of them, which is the not amazing, but generally accepted good. I tend to assume that the item is nothing and therefore stand next to the door. Generally, I save time that way, but I do look very silly when it's actually an item. So we got a wallet in here, which really did not change our route whatsoever. We get to peek this chest on the way, and it is big. If I would have been counting my keys, I would know if the basement is a key. I'm afraid I have been lazy. I know I've seen at least 2, but that does not help. Also another big chest. This is why we stay in bottom of the well. Another bomb bag, not very helpful. Side hop after backflipping, and that lets us avoid the invisible or the visible floor that does not exist. Excuse me. See if anything's here. Our hammer. Blue, what have you done to our seed? So we did not want those items, or at least not the hammer. But now we have it. And it is a key down there. So now that we have our, whatchamacallit, oh, I made a mistake here. So, going to stop for a second to explain my mistake. I was planning to play any warp so that I could save quit and go to Deku Tree. That would work if our child spawn was not within domain. It does not work so well with our child spawn in domain. And yes, Blue is having far too much fun with this hammer. Because our child spawn is not is in domain and is not vanilla, we should not be playing Prelude. We should be playing Minuet, because we want to go to Deku Tree. It is progression. We know that there's something in there which eventually leads to our light arrows. And if that item is a strength, actually, we can just complete Spirit. Although we will have to find our strength 3 in that scenario. Because the only way that we would need a strength for Path to the Hero is if it's a required strength 3. And that's due to the path priority. Now, as we're passing by, I think that it's worth really quick checking Skull Kid. It's definitely debatable, because at this point, do you also do Child Goron City? It's a question. You definitely could. There's nothing wrong with that. Especially because we're looking for just a random strength early. And therefore, actually, sure. I'm going to change my route and I'm going to do it. I will take the time when I'm equipping a bomb bag to equip everything I want for the next area, which will be Deku Tree. So those are the items I want for Deku Tree. I think I already checked this as a child. And this is where, like, keeping track of what you're doing is very important. If I did, I save scummed it. I will be honest, I played a seed just before this, so I may be having a little bit of seed bleed, and I do apologize for that. I will say, without the path priority, I would go straight into Deku Tree and just be looking to complete the game. Due to the path priority, I am scared that I am looking for a miscellaneous strength just somewhere. And therefore, I'm more happy to do all of these checks. We found our Lens of Truth. I really don't want to grab it, but it does unlock one more check that we may need, so we should grab it. Child Goron City, indeed, Goari, the bane of everyone's existence. Although I will admit, Dancing Dead has had my back on more times than I can count. And not a complete waste of time, although most likely just a worse waste of time, because that lens is probably nothing. Also, I forgot, we have Song of Storms, and we're passing by checks. So it's never bad to just double back while you're still near something and say, oh, I forgot to grab that. Go grab it. Kakariko to Phantom Ganon, stuff we have already seen. I think we saw another Lost Woods as well, maybe another Deku Tree. But running over here to the Deku Tree. You don't want to distract you from the explaining too much, but that is an insane place for lens when ZL is lens locked. I hadn't even looked at it, now I feel like I should. But we do have Din's magic available. So you don't need ZL. Yeah, that is crazy. So logically, what Neil is going into is because to cross the desert, you logically need a lens. That lens is required to get ZL, which means you need Din's magic to get Goron Pot, which is bonkers nuts, especially because on top of that, our bomb bag is in GTG and maybe Strength 2 locked. That's something that I still am keeping in the back of my mind and actually is very relevant. Don't forget to equip K-Sword, otherwise you just get sheeshed. Yes! Mito is very mean. But the lens logic here is a nightmare. You have to go to GTG, get your bomb bag, come back. We have a big chest here. Speed, speed indeed, goat. Welcome, hopefully you're doing well. But Mito is cool when multi-roll. Yes, he is. Okay, so we have our strength 2. So that is what we were expecting from here. It is good and bad. I think if I'm fully confident that that is strength 3, you now go mode the Deku Tree. I will take the time to full clear it because I'll be honest, I'm focusing on multiple things and not paying super good attention. But no. So we tried to take the fast route. We're gonna do it again. That strength should be our strength 3 because it's our path to the hero. Therefore, the game expected us to have strength 2 before this, and our letter is probably Mirror Shield locked within Spirit Temple, which is why the path priority gave us a path to the hero instead of a path to whatchamacallit, Twin Rova. Now, we have another big chest in here. Maybe we get rewarded and I'm misreading this situation. but I expect that this will be effectively nothing. An extra bomb bag, bow, slingshot, double defense, that works. Might it not still be possible the 3 strengths are independent of each other? It's possible. But for 2 strengths to be in here, that would mean that... So we got our Kokiri sword from Bottom of the Well. Bottom of the Well was behind Ice Cavern, which means it's letter locked. I currently think letter is in whatchamacallit. Deep Spirit, which means it's strength 2 locked. So I really don't expect a second strength in here. There is supposition on my part in that, but it's my current thinking. And thank goodness that I get to talk about this instead of my failure of B1 skip. So if you line up it against that corner, backflip twice, side hop right, side hop left, roughly line up like so, Z target, roll forward, wait to stop, and go again, and actually roll forward, it should work. You can also do a ground jump here, which is the easier way of doing it, but I want to, because it's an Overexplain video, show off ground jumping. And there we go. We use flame storage, we thought, and we failed miserably, so we will use Dins. Overexplain, aka when all goes wrong with facts. And is this a 100% run? It's looking like it. Oy vey. Also, the good news on that front, and I apologize to Blue for this, also, if you want a broken stick here, we don't need it because we have the Kokiri sword, but if you turn around after entering, side hop right and jump slash, you get a broken stick. So that's fun. We will not worry about that. The good news about our hammer for us, and not for Blue, is our hammer was also whatchamacallit, within Bottom of the Well, and therefore we don't think Strength 2 is behind hammer. Until your multi-world friend sends you an item. Facts! Multi-world is a great way to play this game, but unfortunately not in the standard, where you can have people in other worlds send you items in real time. And if they send you an item that Link should hold over his head, he will hold it over his head whatever you are doing. Outside of swimming. He won't hold it over his head if he's swimming. But we now have Deku complete. And we are looking at checks that we just randomly need throughout the world for a Casino Strength and Spirit Temple. We should do Spirit Temple in case we're misreading something horribly. I don't think that the strength we found can be a past strength 2, therefore Spirit Temple should not have a strength in it. But it is still good to just... It's progression, it doesn't slow us down, and if you're misreading the logic, sometimes everyone does it. Sometimes you find your progression item where you thought it couldn't be, and you just accept it and move on. So, if we take a look at our hints earlier, we saw that Adult Spirit has a key and a bottle on the adult side. If I have the order correctly, it should be that the ZL check on the left is a key, because it used to be inverted, and I think they switched it, but we're going to find out. And that is indeed how it happened. So with a long shot you can make this, otherwise you have to jump down and hook shot from the floor. And we will skip the other early check because we know it's a bottle. You didn't even know there was a dual hint for that? Yeah. It was very confusing earlier when they swapped the order and everyone got it wrong because everyone does it in the ZL followed by Boulder Room order, and hint was Boulder Room followed by ZL. It was hilarious. If you stop pushing this as soon as Link starts the push animation, it will cancel the animation. You can move around a bit. It's a fun little time save here and there. Honestly, the way that I learned it was just trying to do it, and when I failed it, I didn't worry about it. It was just, oh, maybe with enough practice it'll work, and now I'm fairly consistent at it. Firmly grasp it, indeed, Kawari. My mistake. Kawari, another runner who is far better than me, and you should listen to more than me. But big thing in here is we are looking for our boss key and 3 keys, because that is all I am expecting to matter. We do have a big chest. We're not going to ignore big chest. I don't know, you made top 32, I didn't. Lies. Fire arrows, so that's a useful item, but not exactly what we're looking for. You can go a few different routes here. I think the best early to intermediate route for speedrunning is just always plan to go to child side climb. It's 2 quick checks. I think in this scenario, I would have avoided this room, missed out on a small key, and just gone up and prayed that boss key was on the way to Twin Rova. But early routes, there's nothing wrong with taking this route first. But you made top 4 in SGL? See? Far better than me. I didn't make it anywhere in SGL. Easy, Kawari. And also, that's a great example. Like, you have runners of high caliber who get knocked out of, say, the standard tournament, top 32, but then make it super far in SGL. Rando do be rando. Even top runners have bad RNG. We'll show the way without hover boots or a fire source. You can get these 3 Anubis. Also a mentor, by the way, yes. Everyone rush Kawari. Fill up all of his DMs with wanting him as your mentor. One of the best, for sure. And I mean that wholeheartedly. So we have a big chest mirror shield locked. I am expecting this to be leather. Well, I lied. It was nothing. We got our fire arrows. We got an extra wallet. Corey, you stole your CAC routing. Does that make you my mentor? I think it does, 7, and I think it's amazing. For the Iron Knuckles, if you stand just in front of their left foot, they can't hit you. It's very convenient. Or if you crouch there, I should say. I should not have fought the Iron Knuckle. We knew that the hands had nothing. Signed up to be a mentor despite going through a subathon and going on vacation next week? That is commitment, Kawari. The mentees appreciate it. Right. Fortunately, this room is very nice with a long shot. Get to ignore the entire room. Commitment or stupidity? Yes, I mean commitment. Clearly commitment. I didn't say the other. Heart. Vanilla boss key chest, and if you run into this enemy, you get invulnerability frames and can grow. Oh wait, I screwed up. Letter can't be in here. Right? because our Mirror Shield required Requiem. Requiem was behind Letter. I'm mixing up my, whatchamacallit, my Letter and my Song of Storms. I'm talking too much. I'm sorry. So I could be wrong about my spirit logic. Now I have to think about it. Okay. So... how does that work? This is where I confuse myself and just my hands are just doing muscle memory things while I'm trying to like form a thought process, to be honest. I still think strength is most likely available early. So the earlier in the seed, the more likely. So where was Storms? Storms was behind Water Temple. Water Temple was behind Longshot in Zora's Fountain, which means Storms was also behind Letter. Yes. Thank you, Koari, getting me back on track. I confused myself. Again, Naburu Knuckle works the same way as the other Knuckle. You can step in front of the left foot, and it should work. So I don't think our strength is within Spirit Temple, even though we left... I think it was just 2 checks. Yeah, we didn't use Dins on the wall. At the start of this fight, I like getting a jump slash and then pulling out the hookshot. The witches will only shoot at you if they're over one of the 4 pillars on each of the cardinal directions. So you can use your hookshot to freeze the other one in a good shooting location. And then wait for another one of them to stop and possibly shoot. You do have to be aware, you can get this where he's firing not from a cardinal location. It's because he was on his way to a cardinal location when we stopped him with a stopped her with a hookshot, excuse me. I completely misread where that witch was. Twinrova RNG is the best. Okay, Ice should be shooting soon. And Fire is going to Pepegas again. Why? Fire is firing. We got as much distance as we could to maybe hit Ice. And we did. Huzzah. Again, Ice started moving in a direction. It could have been to one of the cardinal pillars, and therefore Ice could shoot. More time for donations! Explanation! Yes. But that would require me to think, and thinking is hard, Bruzler. Sadly, Ice did not go towards a cardinal direction, so we are just waiting for Twinrova to decide to shoot again. Ice should shoot here. Okay, so at the moment, we are looking for Strength 3, we believe. We could confirm that by going into Ganon's castle, talking to Ganon, and then having him tell us that his light arrows are within Ganon's castle. That is more than reasonable. I don't think that's the correct play. It is reasonable, and it's a great sanity check. The more I'm talking about it, the more I'm like, maybe I should. Didn't know this was Games Done Quick. Oh my goodness. Yes, all the charities. Except I'm not very charitable. So please don't donate. Donate to those things. Games Done Quick, Zeldathon, insert other charity. Donate to those, not here. We are not a charity. Oh, goodness. But your safe play at this point is go into Ganon's, get the hint. We know that a strength is required for the light arrows, and that strength can't be used specifically to defeat Twinrova. There has to be another strength available. Therefore, I don't think it's worth it, because it is so likely. So how are items hinted? Which lock at light arrows? Does Evil's Bane exist? So normally, no. Items like light arrows are hinted by you can go up to Ganon and ask them and he'll tell you where it is. We have a path to the hero, which is functioning as a path to Evil's Bane. It is our strength leads to our light arrows. And due to that... Hero, okay, yes. We are just looking at random checks we can do. So, low sphere checks. We can run over here. We can... Actually, I'm regretting my decision. I'm going to go child one more time. We were going to do adult lake. People said priority does not exist, which in fact seems wrong in that case. Yes, and we actually had to have a big conversation very early when we suddenly got a path to the hero and went, path priority is a thing. Surprise! So, a few reasons we're going child right here. One, there are still a bunch of child checks that we can do. Right here at Market, we have Bombchu Bowling and Hyrule Castle Ferry. Those are 2 quick checks. You need to mentor that. Please, no wrong informations. Yes. Path priority is such a can of worms. Like, I believe I have a good handle on this point. You might learn the settings soon. Okay, if I can help at all, by all means. And Donkashun for the follow, Flea. Hopefully you're doing well. Path priority is rare to exist because the path of the hero is not likely to appear. Yes. You both have to have logical requirements for light arrows, and those logical requirements not be required for any of the medallion dungeons, which is quite rare. Hello, hello, you're here to learn? Flea, you could teach me for sure, but probably everyone here. Flea, absolute top runner. Please follow them. Especially if you want like execution tricks as well as logic reading. Flea is so much better at execution than Mike. Can you read them out loud and clear to you? You're lazy to read yourself. Yes, Preston. In the mentor tournament, yes. And you need to not have too many other paths. Yes, that too. We are currently, Flea, looking for a rogue strength, which is very unfortunate. So we're doing some early checks. The reason that we played Serenade initially as an adult and then came back was we wanted to do Adult Lake, and then we remembered Free Scarecrow is not on any settings. So now, we're going to go to Lake as a child to set Scarecrow, and get a check or 2. Should it not auto-generate one because different goal category? So the way that it generates one is first it tries to get a path into each of the higher priority goal requirements. So it tries to put one to each medallion first. So in our case, it tries to put one to Forest Temple, Dodongo's Cavern, Water Temple, Spirit Temple, and Deku Tree. If it can't to one of them, then it will go to the next lower priority, and then it prioritizes it. And if it can't do either, then it will give you a second hint to one of your higher priority dungeons. And that's really where the path priority starts getting confusing. But fortunately, that should not be a worry for these settings. I would be shocked if that actually came up. Here, fishy, fishy, fishy. Yeah, hint distribution can be weird for sure. And I'm really hoping we aren't getting Discord notifications, but I think we are. Let me fix that for a moment. So I will fix that here. Where are my settings? Settings. Notification. Mute. Where is my mute? Well, I don't see anything, but I'm going to disable desktop notifications, and hopefully that means that Discord is now quiet. Sure, on a ground level it's logical, but there's a big entry of learning how it was programmed. Yes. Okay. Sorry for that delay, and apologies if I made anyone think that they had a Discord message. Blue fire arrows. Very useful. Not what we're looking for, game. So, it didn't work. I will close Discord. That will fix it. There. And get rid of that. As soon as I close Discord, my phone starts beeping at me. Of course it does. I apologize. Streamer mode not activating. Indeed, it's because I was running in this multi-world earlier, and I wanted to change my nickname, which you have to deactivate streamer mode for. AKA, it's Ramon's fault. I apologize, but we should not be getting any more Discord notifications. Also, now we know how Nyastrela is very popular and gets a lot of messages. Nonsense! I just occasionally get a bunch of messages. To be honest, those were messages from Reset Button and Slew, who are my partners for the Slug Open Central. Slug Central Open? Something like that. And they're talking about if and when we are practicing and whatnot, because that tournament starts up tomorrow. So if you're bored, I will be playing in those. Dang it! I will never remember that I don't have Free Scarecrow on. It's a fact. But now we have set Scarecrow, and Scarecrow should be effectively free at this point. I also definitely am having Seed Bleed because in my head I had checked Lower Hyrule Field. I have not checked Lower Hyrule Field, thinking about it. That was in my multi-world earlier, so I do apologize. This route at the end for Casino has not been in any way, shape, or form optimal. But in a casino like this, basically I'm just prioritizing all of the lowest sphere checks that I can with the highest density. Him, please. We also know that our gold scale is available, so we definitely want to take the lake lab dive. We will do it after the roof, because the roof is faster. Him, please! This is where you need to learn from Flea and actually be able to aim at things. Bye bye. Nothing on lab roof. We don't have our gold scale for this, however, we do have at least one hookshot and iron boots, which means we can trick the game. You can't aim either, it's okay. Okay, phew. Thank goodness, also Dankeschön, Flea. I don't believe you, but Dankeschön. Nothing here, so on to Lower Hyrule Field. Probably worth playing Epona's song. Definitely debatable. It's gotta be close. Epona, please. So the big things with our check density that we're looking at is we think, and this is a we think, I could be dead wrong, that we don't need to use Strength 2, Hammer, Storms, or Requiem. All of those items should be deeper than the Strength 2, I think. Please. Doing this on the fly and while over-explaining, honestly, I'm not 100% sure. So, there is that. Our hover boots, I do not want to see my hover boots get. The reason I did not want to see my hover boots there is because A, it opens up more checks, and B, that was an early check. So it opens up early. Like, all of Shadow Temple is now an early check, so to speak. Wait, what was that? OGC, right? Yes. For a second, I thought it said inside Ganon. Then I got very confused. However, due to finding the hover boots there, Shadow Temple, while not where I wanted to go, is very good density. Therefore, after getting this next check, I am planning to go straight into Shadow Temple and hopefully find a Strength 2 there, which will be our Strength 3. You can try to shoot this with a bow. I have terrible luck with it. There is a little bit of logic reading you can attempt, so I believe in these settings that only one dungeon can be hinted foolish. Also, when it chooses foolishes, it basically gives weights to each area based on the number of checks in that area. Therefore, because we have a Water Temple Foolish, most likely any dungeon with more checks than Water Temple has at least one major item. Now, that is not a guarantee. It is strictly an odds play. But you can make some plays based on such information, and that's a reason to go into Shadow Temple at this point. Please. Just some health in there. Here's a lesson. Don't be afraid of stone dungeons. Yes. Stone dungeons often can have a lot. Now, we are avoiding stone fire because we hate blue. I mean, because our hammer is fairly deep in logic. However, early fire could also very much have our strength. Or even deep fire if we don't require a hammer in there. No, Blue's eyes, she heard me. Heart blue. You know I don't mean it. I am terrible at this backwalk, but we'll attempt it. Dang it. One off. And I don't know how many side hops for that. I think it's just 2s all round. Damn, can't believe I hate blue. I'm sorry I said it, I don't mean it. I love blue with all my heart. Of course you know that. Heart, do you know that I hate you or that I don't hate you? For the which pillar is correct, you can use Lens of Truth. It's never either of the pillars immediately next to where the pointing item starts. It's always one of the other 3. Sorry. Figured it's over-explained. I should actually point out some of these things as they occur. Small key. We can go deeper in shadow. And there was much rejoicing. Yay. How many keys in shadow? 5. Don't tell me I'm wrong, Oak. Also, hello, Oak. Hopefully you're doing well. I mean, I can gate clip down here. So Triforce Blitz is a mode I play a lot, and you are allowed to gate clip down there. I, by muscle memory, started doing that. I should not do that in these settings. It is very illegal. Please don't do it. Will there be any kissing in the Mentor tournament, or is that an abuse of power? I would guess that's an abuse of power, but that is a guess on my part. I will let the organizers answer that question before I get myself in trouble. If you throw a Deku Nut right there in the center, You stun all 3 Scotulas. Please be my mentor, Reset. See? I agree with this idea, Reset. You must do it now. You've been waiting for you to say that since day 1? Ah! Reset on top of things. But we are just going through Shadow Temple hoping to find things. And by things, I mean a strength. House Seed, it's mostly good. It's a great Overexplain seed. I'm gonna leave it at that. We have a Rogue Strength 2 to get before the Strength 3 that we have. Or I'm an idiot and misreading this. That is always possible. But I'm pretty sure that we are looking for a Strength. And this is how I would play the seed. So I'm going to keep explaining as if that. And if we just get random extra dungeons for fun, then we get random extra dungeons for fun. This is what I get for not playing a standard seed in months. I don't know how many months, but a lot of months. And thank you for the follow, Zimu. Dankeschön so much. Hopefully it hasn't been too dreadful here, and thank you for all of your chiming in. I truly appreciate it. Because you have both kept me on task and pointed out things that I didn't think about talking about, and that is so helpful. We have a key down there. Zimu, another top runner. You'd follow me, but you already are? Heart reset. Thank you for the follow, Oak. Oh my goodness, so many people. Heart. This is why I love the ZOoTR community. Is this spammable? Apparently yes. Definitely not top. I would say top. Honestly, intermediate runners have gotten so good at the game. The fact that I made top 32 is an example of that. I would classify myself as an intermediate runner. And even I somehow made top 32. And yes, when you did the guide to scrubs, you didn't expect some questions. Part? That I believe. Like kissing? Fun little trick you can do with this room. After we get this. All the hearts. Hello, Dapper Dan. Hopefully you're doing well. You can go ahead and equip that. Oh, we don't. Never mind. In my head, the settings I've been playing with start with a Furores. We were going to use that. We don't have Furores, so we will go through this room slowly. No, the questions weren't about kissing because you were teaching and not asking. Ah! That seems fair. Please. I also didn't see what came out of that pot, so we're going to find out after we defeat the keys. Because we suddenly had a fire keys in our face. If you don't have a long shot here, just backflip onto this chest to get enough height for the hook shot. With a long shot, it didn't matter, but good to know. I need that. That is not the item setup I wanted, but it will work. So we're doing a trick where, because we look the other direction, the fans don't load in this room yet. No! And then we mess it up. Good job, us. See, when I try to over-explain things and do them at the same time, I do not do either very well. I apologize. Neither did the hover boots facts. Think this will be fine. I could be dead wrong. No, I did it again. Okay. Yeah, top 32 runner here. You're welcome. I'm gonna do it with a bomb juke. I am so embarrassed right now. But see, if I play like this, you can make top 32 without question. Here's the game. Spent too much on D2R? Yes. Far too much time on D2R lately. So if you do that correctly, you don't need to equip Iron Boots. Something we are bad at. Big chest? That's our letter! Oh god. This seed is getting worse. So logically, that is very required. That did not look like a big chest. Oh, it is. Second magic. There's always a magic in Shadow Temple, I swear. That seems fine. I don't know why I'm equipping things. I'm a little loopy right now, sorry. I need to reset my brain and actually play like a semi-functional human being. Another big chest. Everything at the end of Shadow. Wow. But nothing we're looking for. You can use this jump to avoid pushing the block, or using a hookshot on the ladder. All of those will work. Oh, Jabu is now an option. It is. I don't like it. Our options for this strength, assuming we are reading the seed correctly, are getting worse and worse. We have early fire without a hammer. We have Jabu. We have Lens of Truth minigame, treasure chest game. Those are the top options in my head right now. You have a key here. Great for an overexplain seed, though. Just hurt the streamer, hurt the streamer. For the record, for any mentee that I may have in the future, I am taking this seed for you. This would be the seed you would have, I'm sure, if I did not take this seed. I hope that's true. This is not a kind seed. It's a very interesting seed. It is not a kind seed. We should mark that we have a strength out of Deku Tree, which eventually leads to our light. You think all of fire is open now? Oh, yeah, because that opened up letter. Oh god, don't remind me. I agree, Neil. I don't understand why the Mirror Shield was unhinted either. Okay, you do have to go up here to get Scarecrow. So the Mirror Shield has to lock something. Maybe that is where to look. Thank you, Neil. We full cleared everything in Spirit that was Mirror Shield locked. It was just... It was a Zora tunic. Equivalently. It was our wallet. You like the way I think? Yeah. And by I mean... You like the way Neil thinks. Sorry. Mirror Shield did lock our wallet. We had a key in Central Pillar. My best guess, it is Water Temple Key. That's my best guess. How much HP does Bongo have? That much. To the nearest decimal. It's in decimals? I have no idea, Oak, I'm sorry. These are things I don't know. He has 10 Master Sword jump slashes worth of health, or 5 Bigoron Sword jump slashes. You got no clue? Heart. Well, I apologize for not being able to enlighten you. I could Google it. But yeah, all of fire, I think, is in logic, so... There's our Zor... The game's making fun of me at this point. I think it's for a Zora tunic. Here's your Zora tunic. Thank you, game. Well, there goes that idea. I'm trusting in blue. I'm not sure in a race I would know to do this, because without chat informing me, which in a race would be very, very bad, and it's why I highly recommend emote-only chat for standard races and such. It would be very awkward, because if chat has influenced you, that becomes a race mod question. Because this is not a race mod question, because it's not an official race, we will go ahead and go into fire, see if there's anything there, make blue happy, and because it's good density. At least compared to all of our other options. Please. That didn't hit game? Seriously? The invincible dodging keys, everyone. When fire is your best option, it's Mancy. Yeah. Although blue would disagree, and I should have come in here. Blue was clearly right. Wait a minute. And I do apologize. Probably about 2.5 hours into a seed, I start getting a bit loopy. We are past that point here. So at this point, all I can do is laugh at my misfortune and probable stupidity. And keep running. Master Sword on Fire Dancers. It does deal double damage. That is good advice, especially for any mentees or potential mentees who are watching this. I still like keeping the big Goron sword. You deal half the damage, but if you're willing to deal with the Flare Dancer's shenanigans, I still think it's reasonable. I could hear an argument either way. And Kuari, I do bow to your wisdom on whether it's good or bad. Spirit just wasn't picked as a dungeon to be hinted. I don't think that can be, because we have a path to the hero. So feel free to correct me. Again, Flea, top 32 runner, better than me. So Flea, if I am incorrect, by all means. But due to the path priority and we have a path to the hero, because we don't have any path to Twin Rova, I believe that the path to the hero tells us that the mirror shield is required for something of another dungeon. And basically it tried to hint Twin Rova and it said, oh, well, all of those items are already hinted. It's the other way around from what you thought then? Now am I saying it backward? Hero is first priority? That doesn't sound right. That can't be. I refuse to believe. Lee says the thing you said, then you must be right. I shouldn't have hit that. At least one thing from every category needs to be picked, but I thought that it did it by dungeon category first, so it tried to pick one from each. Okay. So I am backwards then, and we have not been playing correctly. Thank you, Flea. I will need to fix that in post. All the 6 meds belong to the bridge, and hero is its own category. Agreed. Okay, so I had that mixed up. It's just Path of the Hero is so rare that it didn't. Because by the time you have the 6 medallion dungeons, that means path priority is far more of a thing in these settings than I gave it credit for. I feel like you're going to have a decent number of Path to the Heroes then. Sorry for not intervening. No, thank you. I'm sorry. Hopefully we have enough time to actually make it through fire. We also have a Goron tunic. We just are refusing to equip it, so. You were too unsure to say something? No, Bresler, don't go shoot. And thank you, Flea, for the correction. I truly appreciate it, especially here, because it has been a while since I played Standard. I have Triforce Blitz all over my mind right now, which is a different beast. Path to the Hero is still rare. Yep. Because the item has to not be used for anything but the lights. Yes, yes, yes. Bridge, tower, boss room door, defeat Ganon sounds right. Skip the last two main tourneys, fair, Bresler. I just feel bad because I thought I knew what I was talking about, and I clearly did not. I will definitely add that to the description of this video when I upload it. Or a correction, you guys could still point to bow or magic? Yes. That is 100% true, but neither of those can be used for any of the 6 dungeons, which makes it awkward. But I had it backwards, Donkashun. So much hint logic, I get it confused way too easily. And again, if you are watching this and learning, please don't feel bad for mixing things up. Like, I just did it. And I convinced several people who play ZOoTR fairly regularly that I was correct while mixing it up. Thankfully, a top tier runner came and set me straight. I appreciate it. Okay, so this should be a key of some form. You often get confused as well and then choose just to ignore the logic? Fair. Honestly, that goes back to a point that I was trying to make earlier, which is the worst thing you can do is be indecisive. Just go somewhere. Try to figure out while you're going somewhere, but do something. If you get something on the way there, great. If you figure out you're already headed the correct direction, great. But as long as you're doing something, you're playing the game correctly. Fortunately, despite that, because our strength is Path to the Hero, we still know that Ganon's Castle should not have our strength, quote-unquote, 2, or our strength 3. At least if I'm reading it correctly. Because, whatchamacallit, let me think this through. We have Path to the Hero strength, which means that strength was not used for the other paths, which includes Path to Twinrova. Therefore, Ganon's Castle cannot have our strength that we are looking. That I do have correctly, and have played correctly. Interesting. Lack of keys in Fire Temple. Game, please. So that means we have one more check here in Fire, which is terrible check density. I don't think I've seen a big item here in Fire, though, and we haven't had Fire Foolish. We do have Water Foolish. So it's likely Fire has an item. It is not guaranteed. But this is where key counting comes in very helpful. We have checked everything we can. We have 6 keys. There are 8 small keys and 1 boss key in Fire Temple. So we know that there are 2 small keys, 1 boss key left in Fire Temple, and there's a total of 4 checks. So as soon as we get a check that is not a key, we can leave. Unfortunately, statistically, that check is likely to be Volvagia. But we can hope it's the next check. Him, please. And it is the next check, so we can leave fire. Unfortunate that it just so happens that fire is foolish, and we didn't know it. So at this point, we have a smattering of checks. Our largest check density is Zora's Domain and Jabu Jabu as a child. Since we have a spawn in Zora's Domain, we are going straight for those. Do I get to be horribly embarrassed because I literally spawned here at the start of the game? And I could have had a strength immediately, but I didn't want to farm 20 rupees. It's possible. Turn in our letter. Pulling an ink every time. Not every time. I am not as YOLO as ink. But today, yes. We set up flame storage, so now we can back up, do this. And it is big! Oy vey. It's not even the 20 rupee one that we were avoiding. You could go get that chest. I will be collecting the rupees just in case we need them. And is this our strength that we've been looking for? Right under our nose the whole time. No, but it would have been very helpful. Don't forget, it's very easy to collect a fish there and just say, oh, I want to go into Jabu, that's why I collected the fish, to actually complete the diving minigame. Which would have made us rich. And did make us rich, to be fair. So what are our terrible checks at this point? We have Jabu, Treasure Chest Game, Market Big Pose, and I'm kind of running out of checks. At least that I think can logically have it. I do not have Deku Nuts. That is awkward. Hopefully we get some Deku Nuts from some of the bubbles somewhere. If not, we can always get it from the Big Octo Room, or just above the Big Octo Room more directly. Rudo being on floor 1 means that we can just grab her and move forward. Bad throw on our part. Bad jump on our part. Again, 3 hours into a seed, I know that my execution gets very bad. So I do apologize with making everyone put up with it. Like 2 TFB seeds, facts. Right after a TFB multi-world seed. This room without Deku Nuts is terrible. The bubbles did in fact not give us Deku Nuts. Sad. Do I do all of Jabu for 1 check? Honestly, I don't think so. I think we set Furores and we do the other checks. And if it's in Jabu, it's in Jabu. I 100% should have kept Rudo. Would have been much better. Link, please. It's a terrible way to do that room. Okay, I will set Furores and say, if we need to come back to this room, we need to come back to this room, but I'm not going to assume that it's here until I've cleared everything else. Because it's just so slow. We also have the ferry on top of Death Mountain Trail that we tried to do, but we didn't have ZL at the time. That's another good check. We have the Death Mountain Crater Hammerlocked Ferry. So many good checks. But had I been racing in this seed, I would be losing terribly at this point. It's just... Unless it was a 1v1 and my opponent made the same mistakes I did. The nature of rando. Nowadays, you can catch a big Poe while on horseback. We also have Sunsong Rave for another random check. Another bomb bag, nice. We have Haunted... No, we did Haunted Wasteland. We specifically made a point to do Haunted Wasteland. So we're safe from that one. I can't wait for it to be on Baronade Heart. Just of all places. Team never buy a shield. We got one 3 hours, 20 minutes in. Huzzah. We also have the Desert Colossus Fairy. Because we talked about getting it while on our way, but ZL came from Colossus, so we never actually got it. And this is where the more efficient you were with your early routing, the less backtracking you have to do. Not having ZL, unfortunately, meant that, like, we missed, like, the Death Mountain Trail Fairy, so we still had to go back to it despite quote-unquote routing it in earlier. But, is what it is. I really am running out of locations, though, so trying to think. I also have the Storms Grotto and Death Mountain Trail, the Frogs 1. I need to go together. This will work. I have Sun Song. So we'll try to grab both of those. Actually, I think we checked the Death Mountain Trail at some point. We definitely should have. I'm just second-guessing myself. I should not be age swapping as much as I am, but honestly, I'm having difficulty thinking of checks I haven't done, so that's part of the reason that I am age swapping. It's just when I think of a check, I'm going to it to keep my hands moving. Time for work. See you, Koari. Thank you for sticking around. I apologize for being slow. But take care. Enjoy work as much as you can. I think we're going to Baronade Heart after this. Yup. Let us get going. Oy vey. Do we have anywhere else outstanding that we can think of? Right. Honestly, this is not a bad location to, whatchamacallit, get into a dungeon quickly. Arguably, Requiem would have been faster. Yeah, Requiem would have been faster. We should have save quit and played Requiem immediately. At this point, I think it's fine. The good news is we were probably going to have to save quit from our Furores, so we get to avoid that save quit, and especially if you're playing on VC, avoiding save quits is very, very useful. I should have done Frogs in the Rain first. Should I go now? Debatable. I should. Yeah. It's still correct, too. And this is where my advice comes not as helpful, because I'm flip-flopping on what I should do. It's like, okay, I can do one quick check, and if it's there, I'm good. You also then get into racing questions of, okay, what race am I in? Is this a qualifier? How many people have finished? Do I change my strategy? Do I metagame off of that information? Or is it a heads-up 1v1? Do I say that if the check is something early, I just lose, and therefore I avoid early game checks because my opponent will have checked them? These become questions as you are racing and depending on each, but I wouldn't worry about them as a new and upcoming runner. It's more a, okay, I'm looking to do better for this particular event. What can I do for this event that will improve my chances? And don't get me wrong, those things are very, very useful. It's just personally, I believe it's a bit of a overflow of information. Focus on just good gameplay for start, good routing choices, etc. And from there, build on that. We had saved in Jabu, so we got to just quit as soon as we saw that the item was not our strength, and we're back in Jabu. If it isn't here, where am I not thinking of? I feel like if it isn't here, I memory hold a check. Assuming that I'm in a race and like I'm keeping going after this point, if I don't know what I've done wrong, you can look through your own VOD, try to figure out what happened. You can go back and check things that you might have misread. You can go to 20 and 30 skulls, see if maybe you have a strength on one of them and misread it. Honestly, that's something I'm considering right now. Why am I keeping Rudo? That's a good question. Which means I should have just used Furores to get back to where I was. Oh well. Small mistakes. Okay, Boomerang. I'm glad that we targeted the middle of the air. I appreciate that. We never full cleared GTG. GTG is fairly good. We never went up the left side because there was no reason to as far as we were aware. That is something that honestly just... In the last seed I did, I full cleared GTG. And therefore in my mind, I already had. So that is strictly a seed bleed mistake on my part. Now, for the checks in GTG we care about, I think there's only 3. So it's not likely to have anything, but of all the places we have left, it is very likely to have something. And therefore a good saying comes off of seeds like this, which is called full clear your path locations. 5 Deku Nuts should be enough. We were nervous that our bomb bag in GTG could be strength 2 locked, because it was 5 keys deep in the maze. 7 keys logically, and we only had 5 keys. So a strength in GTG actually would make a lot of sense. And that is our mistake for not seeing that. Don't mind me while I edit everything out, replay the seed, and am brilliant for immediately full clearing GTG. Oy vey. A nice setup to be able to get to Jabu without climbing up to the top. I apologize. I am fading a bit and therefore not going into as much explanation as I should through all of the tricks and whatnot. With our Deku Nuts. We actually won't complete Jabu, we'll collect the item and leave via save quit. That is a terrible strength! Oh, that is so bad. That is our go mode, practically. Wow, wow indeed, Flea. Who rolled this seed? Oh wait, it was me. Well, everyone got the world tour. Oy vey. So that should be our go mode. Based on the path to the hero, the only item we found in Deku Tree was a strength, so our light arrows should be in light trial. And I think that the only clue was what we mentioned about the GTG path. I think that bomb bag in there is strength 2 locked due to number of keys. And therefore, I don't have bombs in logic without that strength 2. Which just makes it worse if that's true. Wait. Where did letter come from? Thought letter was in shadow. It might have been bomb locked in shadow. That would throw all of that out the window. I'm not 100% sure. But if you have Stone Jabu, and your required progression is on Baronade, you got a bad seed and I am sorry for you. You think bomb locked in shadow? Yeah, that's what I was thinking, so... I must be wrong about the GTG potential. At least it wasn't in GTG. We would have felt so bad if it was just sitting early in GTG. Big chest. And there's our light arrow, so we are fully in go at this point. So what we did right was the path of the hero gave us information that we didn't need to go into Ganon. We knew where our light arrows were, we just didn't have the item needed to get them. Here, if you have magic, which you probably do, if you charge up a spin slash and wait for one of them to jump on you, or nearly, you should roughly kill both of them with a big Goron sword, or put them one hit away if you have a Master Sword. It's a useful tactic for defeating the Lizalfos in that room quickly. Similarly, in this room, if you have Deku Nuts, you can stun them similar to those in Forest Temple. Otherwise, if you run towards the one on the left, he almost always tries to jump slash you, and you can use a jump slash to hit him first. For the Iron Knuckles, if you have Master Sword, I recommend taking them on one at a time, though there are strategies to fight them both simultaneously. With the Bigoron Sword, if you just backwalk from the entrance, get behind them, and crouch stab using the jump slash that you had earlier, then it's fairly easy to take both of them down without them having time to hit you. Don't feel bad again if you don't get it the first time. It took me many times to get just the little nuances correct. And after that, it started sticking. There are also some faster ways of going up this tower that I don't know, using Z targeting and specific number of side hops. So if you want to look at top runners, Flea, Cinny, Mr. Mario, I don't know who all does those. I'm pretty sure Cinny does the setup there. But there are many runners who do, if you are interested. We got the lovely hint from Ganon that his Ganon's castle had his own light arrows. Yes, we knew that. Thank you, Ganon. You just rolled up? Okay, I'm not alone. Dankeschön, Flea. Okay, small thing, I'm pausing for a second. We ran away from Phantom Ganon to get off of the platforms that fall, and then we did a jump slash with the Bigoron Sword. This stores the Bigoron Sword. Speedrun world records also rolled up? Good to know! So maybe the other one just looks fancy. But now that we have it stored, this only works if you have Bigoron Sword. If you have Master Sword, I still recommend it, but you won't swap from Bigoron Sword to Master. You equip a bottle, a hammer, and light arrows, as well as your Master Sword. This is the optimal setup for fighting Ganon at the end of the game. Pull out a bottle. Some people... I like waiting here for him to shoot, jumping over, and then using a bottle. He doesn't have time to reflect. Most people will climb up during that time. It guarantees it. It's just I didn't learn it that way. And therefore, I don't do it that way. I messed up one of those timings horribly for the crouch stabs. Fortunately, with the Goron Sword, it isn't as precise as with Master Sword. Here, don't forget to get a jump slash before going into the boss fight. This stores your Master Sword slash so that you can deal Master Sword damage with crouch stabs with either the hammer or the Bigoron Sword to Ganon. It significantly reduces the amount of time it takes to defeat Ganon. If you don't have the Goron Sword or the hammer, you still can defeat Ganon, but you can't store a crouch stab. So you have to use Deku Nuts, bow, hookshot to hit his tail, and you have to hit him a lot. I think it's 20 hits. It's 10 or 20 hits. I can't remember which. But it's only 3 if you store that Master Sword Crouch Stab, or Jump Slash, with a Crouch Stab. So, do remember to do it when you can. Also, everyone has their own preferred angles. I sort of like this side angle the most. It's where I have the most success, where you sort of go from his front right to his back left, or front left to back right when rolling under him. Because if you crouch stab his tail at an angle, I have much better success hitting it than going straight back at him. So those are my quick Ganon tips if they help. And then, of course, stab the piggy in the face. GG's! Not our best time. Dankeschön for the GG's. Jumper and Flea. Oh my goodness. I played this scene so badly. But that's what makes it a great Overexplain, because I'm an idiot, and you can do better than me, and that means you belong in top 32. Have no doubt of that. You can make top 32 or whatnot, if I can. Oy vey. But, Boggers, Dankeschön for the GG, brother. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. I am very loopy, so I will be ending the video there. We'll find someone to raid. Feel free to hit me up with any questions you have, or comments. By all means, feel free to make fun of me. Certainly I deserve it. Especially after that. Oh my goodness, all the biscuits! Dankeschön for the cheers! But, let us see who is currently online. We have Alpha running DK64. Currently, those are the ones... That's the best run. Oh, Vidya! Vidya is running Ocarina of Time for Melee Retro Achievements? Okay, he's not running Ocarina of Time. But... Oh! Ausina, Ecola, and Willex are all running a Franco race. So let's raid over to Ecola. This is a top-tier runner, quite possibly the best runner in the game. So if you want to see someone do something well, this is the person to watch. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Take care.